It's time to put the remote control down. The talking heads are done. It's time for unfiltered takes over a nightcap. You're invited inside to discuss the weekend's biggest disasters, the surprising heroes, and everything that got missed over the course of the weekend. This is where the best late-night sports talk happens. Welcome inside the ETB Lounge. And now, here's your bartender of banter for the evening, Callan McClurg. They say January is for the cold-blooded, but after this, I think the heater is just getting started. Welcome back to the ETB Lounge for Monday, January 12th. My name is Callan McClurg, and before we dive into the carnage, I have to give a massive shout-out and thank you to our good man, Nick DiMartino, who, of course, hosted his first Saturday session here this past weekend alongside myself, Nick Morgeson, Tom Albano, and his good friend Colin. And let me tell you, it was a hell of a night roasting the WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, frying our football forecast show from this past Friday, and just generally doing what we do best, mixing actual sports news with a level of laughter that probably annoyed my next-door neighbors. Nick, congratulations. The bar is in good hands on Saturdays, and I applaud you again for doing it. But now let's talk about the pro football we saw yesterday. I've said it once. I will say it again, 9 years to the day that this team left my city. I have not watched a lick of the NFL since 2017 when the Chargers decided that San Diego wasn't good enough for them and packed their bags for LA. And I don't give a flying you-know-what your GPS says. LA is not San Diego. But I did catch a glimpse of that score, though, yesterday, where it read New England 16, LA Chargers 3. A playoff game where the dynamic LA offense mustered 3 points. 3 points. You know, guys, it's funny. Yeah, you know, guys, it's funny. Usually when you leave your house and your family for something better, you at least try to look like you're succeeding. Well, instead, the Chargers went to Foxborough and got bullied by Drake May. Since 2017, they've been looking for an identity, and I think they finally found it. They're the team that spends millions on tickets to Los Angeles just to end up exactly where they were in San Diego, disappointing everybody by the first weeks of January. But enough about the teams that don't have to go home. We have a massive show tonight. We've got a national title up for grabs next Monday between Indiana and Miami. That's about to break the bank for a ticket come next week. We've got our new $175 million third baseman in Chicago, who might actually be worth the price of admission, and a NBA hallway fight in Los Angeles that proved that Dennis Schroeder is paying nearly $300,000 for a conversation he didn't even win. Gang, the scoreboards are off, the stadiums are empty, but in here, the lights stay on, and the conversation is just beginning. The lounge is officially open. Back with us here at the bar, the Burlington talented one and only Christy Wilson, and the man with the keys to the network, that, of course, is Nick Morgeson. Panel, we've got a Bears comeback to dissect, a Eagles emergency to declare, and a last dance in Pittsburgh that might be ending the seating. We'll keep you folks posted about the Texans and Steelers. But with that, though, gang, let's get to work and meet the panel for the night. Again, Nick Morgeson, who looks like he's been through hell and back over the weekend with the carnage of the NFL season. Mr. Morgeson, welcome back to the bar. Great to see you as always, my man. How are we doing today?
I mean, I'm fine until we get biased Bears fans who try to tell me they won that game fair and square. I mean, come on. It took a record. The Packers had to give up 25 freaking points in the fourth quarter for the Bears to win. By the way, the Steelers just got another interception. That's 3 turnovers now. But you know what? We'll get into it. Don't get me wrong. You heard us totally dissect our forecast episode from this past week. By the way, 50 people watching currently as we just started the show. But I'm looking forward to talking the NFL from a non-biased perspective. Just saying.
Yes.
And, of course, Christy Wilson, our voice of reason on Between the Ropes and also on Football Forecast. Again, Christy, between WWE nonsense involving Monday Night Raw, involving Wild Card Weekend, involving other things in the sports world, you live for the chaos. Christy, as always, welcome into the program. And, again, thanks for being here. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. It's going to be exciting, that's for sure.
So, again, folks, let's kind of recap, though, about what the lounge is here. Again, this is your 2-day sports-centric version on Monday, comedy-centric version on Saturday. Again, we are still moving the furniture around the bar, as we usually say. It's kind of that thing, though, Nick and Christy, you go to the bar, it's pretty full, and you just grab a chair and randomly sit next to somebody. We're kind of doing that right now for the upcoming weekend with some travel, some scheduling that is going on, but we will still be here, though, Mondays and Saturdays, sometimes pre-recorded, sometimes live. That's the nature, though, of our program, and thankfully, sadly, hate to say it, but without playback being in the rearview mirror, we actually have more at our disposal, as Nick has long said, that we have more ways to still bring you our content when either I'm traveling, DiMartino's traveling, life, school, work, and home and play happens. But again, we thank you all for being here this evening. Now, again, the Monday program is more of the sports-centric version here again, as I'll recap our rundown again. We're going to go through our 3 big headlines with our round of takes to fully recap Wild Card Weekend. We're going to go and preview next week's national title game. Again, as we're sitting here a week away now from the game, we'll go with the empty the beverage segment, though, where we'll talk about number 1 Indiana versus number 10 Miami next Monday. We'll go and talk about Alex Bregman's new deal with the Chicago Cubs during our bench money segment at about 7:48 Pacific. We'll also go from there to our back of the napkin segment here, talking about this actual game tonight. Again, I'm sure Nick will do his best to keep you folks posted on the Texans and Steelers game, as it is, in fact, live here during the course of our program. We'll talk more about this game a bit later in the show, though, about Stroud versus Rodgers. We'll also touch a bit more about this ongoing Dennis Schroeder suspension that happened from a game back in December that, of course, has kind of flown under the coaster. We'll also get to 3 more bench confessionals from my weekend being at the bar here in San Diego. We'll talk more about the national title game ticket prices being totally out of whack. And, of course, we'll pour one out for a couple of people who might need a double or triple after the weekend that they did suffer in the world of the NFL. But first, though, Nick, what do you got for us real quick?
No, I was saying include me. I'll take a double or a triple.
I mean, well, I know you're a wine guy. So are we talking Chardonnay? We talking some
Pinot,
a little Pinot, a little dark, dark red, maybe?
No dark, no reds, all whites,
all white.
Like Pinot Grigio.
Let's also, folks, remind real quick, you can find us on social media. We are at the ETB Lounge on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. And also, more importantly, follow the network accounts. We are, of course, at ETB Network across your favorite social platforms. And again, subscribe to us too on YouTube, youtube.com/ETB Network, as we get a bit closer to those 4,000 watch hours.
Also, live interactive chat, by the way, for this show. So, like you did on Forecast, where I got barraged by about 10,000 comments during Forecast, and I had to put a few people in their places about the Bears. Then bring it on. Bring on all the Bears biased fans in this chat.
Bring it.
I'll take down every Bears fan that comes through this chat.
Oh, boy.
So go ahead. Anything's allowed, even insulting us. I don't care.
And that is why, folks, the lounge is here. More importantly, for those of you folks that are wondering about that. So, again, we'll take those live thoughts. We'd also like to remind you again that we have plenty more coverage coming up this week involving all of our other programs that, again, Nick and Zam will drop episode 301 of ETB Sports on Wednesday. We've got content coming on Tuesday, content Thursday. So we have Nick sounded off with this on PR last Wednesday. We have 7 full days of something, whether it's audio form podcast, video podcasts, live shows, like, again, Nick and I being back on Wednesday morning for Press Row. We are very much, folks, interactive with Bart Winkler joining us on Wednesday morning. So you're going to want to tune into that. It's going to be very spicy. Woo-hoo. The longtime former ISN host who now is reverting back to his podcast in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who, again, Nick, he set the world on fire, though, after the Packers lost to the Bears on Sunday.
I thought it was hilarious when he just said, you know what, F you. I'm like, okay, I'm totally fine with that. Let's just bring it on. See, that's the greatest thing about podcasts. Like, this is not radio, so you don't have to be like completely politically correct when you do podcasting. Trust me, I worked in that world in radio. It's not fun sometimes when you literally have to censor words that you don't even think are curse words on the air.
Correct.
Here, I might say the dumbest thing in the entire world, and I can't get fired for saying it.
So again, we'll take live input again on YouTube and across our Twitter platforms. Again, we're live on the ETB YouTube alongside Football Forecast, ETB Sports, Christie's Twitter account, the ETB Twitter account, Press Rose Twitter account, and also the FP5 Twitter account. So you have plenty of ways to get involved with our show here this evening. All right, guys, let's jump into the round of takes tonight. Again, 3 awards to be given out for the biggest stories of the weekend. But of course, guys, it is a washout for Wild Card Weekend. Biggest win on tap, guys, goes to the Chicago Green Bay game as Caleb Williams organizes somehow, some way, an 18-point deficit, overcomes it as the Bears win over Green Bay 31-27. Again, guys, a game that mainly I think, though, and I think Nick is right, though, we ran a Twitter poll question over the weekend after this game went final late on Saturday evening or Sunday night, where Football Forecast had asked, was this more about the Bears winning this game or the Packers basically imploding and giving Chicago the victory on the waitress platter? 57% of respondents said this was more about Green Bay imploding more than Chicago actually winning it. Obviously, we've heard, the Slack channel banter between the Bears fan base and Nick, who again went like 1 versus 100, like the whole, one man versus 100 gorillas basically over the course of the last couple of days.
100 gorillas.
But guys, here's the big question though about this game. And I don't know if I really buy the question, but I kind of get the logic with it, though. So, again, ladies first, Christy Wilson. Is Caleb Williams officially the king of the North after the comeback, or did the Packers and Jordan Love simply hand him the keys to the division by failing to score in the third quarter of this game, where they basically sat on a halftime lead and basically imploded and falling asleep at the wheel on Saturday in Chicago?
I'm going to get so much. I'm probably going to get just as much hate as Nick's probably going to get from Bears fans, but I think the Packers just handed Caleb Williams the keys to the castle, and the Packers just imploded pretty much. Just based on all that, Packers just lost it.
Nick, I think this is now 2 games in a row that Green Bay seemed to have a game in the bag and somehow, some way let the cat out of the bag in the second half to let Chicago come back. I think it happened, last week of the season, week before the end of the season. And then last night, I think all of us, see the score and you see Green Bay's up 21-3. You're obviously seeing Chicago like, oh, here we go again. Can't win a playoff game. We're going to lose to these guys who haven't beaten since World War II when it comes to a playoff game.
Right.
And once again, though, Nick, for the second time in a matter of a couple of weeks, I don't know what the disconnect is here, whether it's the quarterback, it's the play calling, it's Matt LaFleur, it's this or that. But for some ungodly reason, the Green Bay Packers, who you would think, Nick, would know how to close out a game, let the Bears back into it, cough up the lead. Now, the excuse could be, kicker. Yeah, I don't care about the kicker. This game boils down to it being a collective team letdown over the course of that game, where, again, 21-3, 21-6, 21-9, 21-17.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, in my opinion, though, with where it comes. But, again, Nick, your thoughts, though. Did Caleb officially become the king of the North, though, or did the Packers and Jordan Love simply hand him the game by not scoring in the third quarter, let alone the remainder of that second half, though?
I mean, it took a record to win the game. It's the first time a 25-point fourth quarter in the playoffs, or I think it was a 25-point comeback, largest comeback in playoff history for the Chicago Bears. Don't get me wrong. Caleb Williams had a really good game. I think he threw for like 360 yards, I want to say.
Right around there.
But the Packers imploded. And I know I'm going to walk into Forecast, which is going to be live again this Friday. Don't miss it. Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Cheap plug. But my point is, Zan, who is, I call him our proper Bears fan because he knows the NFL and the logic of the game. We have 3 Bears fans on the Forecast, which makes it tough sometimes.
Grant, Michael, Zan. There you go.
They're all great. I'm not questioning that. But you got to take the bias aside from some of it and say, look, when is the heart attack football going to catch up with the Chicago Bears? When? You were trailing. You were trailing embarrassingly in the first half. I think it was 21-3 at the half.
21-3 at the half.
And I said, I never say a game is over in the playoffs. I want to be very clear about that because no game is ever over at the playoffs. No lead is safe in the playoffs. But it just looked like the Bears were lost in the first half. They couldn't score. Zan said it to me on ETB Sports, which comes out on Wednesday, that it just looked like they were missing assignments in the first half defensively.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, this is the first time in a long time I said, okay, the Bears just look off. They're going to lose. But a game is a tale of two halves, right? A lot of times, the first half, a lot of times doesn't tell the story in a playoff game. Third quarter was great. The Packers held on. Nothing really changed. I think the Bears put up a field goal. I think it was 21-6 going into the fourth quarter. And then everything just exploded. The Packers forgot how to play defense.
Yeah.
The Packers couldn't get a touchdown. I couldn't get any points. Jordan Love looked lost in the second half. So to say that the Bears just were like, I'm in charge and Caleb's getting the North. Can we slow down on that, please? Because what has Caleb won? Caleb has won nothing. One game, one playoff game. And we're already going to declare him the king of the North? Tell me.
Yeah, one division title and one playoff win that was basically gift wrapped and on layaway at your local Walmart doesn't really move the needle for me either.
Yeah.
You know, just for the fact of like, you know, my dad wanted to watch the game and I'm like, we don't have we don't have our Prime subscription anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have the subscription anymore. So, you know, we were watching college basketball. And I literally, like, you know, ESPN dinged my phone and it said, you know, hey, historic comeback, Bears win. And we both were like, what the hell happened? So we flipped over to NFL Network to watch Chris Rose and Mike Robb recap the game. And I'm like, you know, even as someone who hasn't, you know, mentally, you know, sat through a full game in 9 years, I'm watching the highlights of this. I'm like, what in the world is Green Bay's defense doing? And then obviously, you know, people can, you know, say, well, Brandon McManus cost him the game. The kicker is the least of my concerns if I'm a Packers fan, because how do you, though, go from being up 21-3 and, as you know, as Nick kind of said, though, a playoff game in any sport is never over. And I think that's kind of, I think, where Green Bay got a little lackadaisical, I want to say. Like, hey, 21-3. I think, though, LaFleur did a pretty good job, though, of saying post-game, though I think he's on the, you know, though I think a lot of people think he's on the hot seat. He said, hey, we knew damn well, though, in a way that this team can come back, you know, and to Nick's point, though, to further, you know, go at what he said, though, the cardiac victories, I think, begin to catch up. Like I said, though, I think last Monday here in the lounge, you can only have so many walk-off winners in baseball, you know, buzzer beaters in basketball, so many walk-off field goals and touchdowns and game-winning drives in football that eventually it's going to catch up to you. And now for Chicago, obviously they move on. Now they play the Rams coming up next week for the upcoming divisional round back at Soldier Field. But Christy, I kind of want to also, in a way, address, and Nick has obviously gone off the rails, though, in a good way, though, about this, though.
All right.
Obviously, it's the viral moment after the game ends of Bears head coach Ben Johnson, you know, mouthing off about the Packers. Now, obviously, this has been a rivalry as old as time, 100+ years. You know, you go to Green Bay, you go to Chicago, you're basically told, you know, F Green Bay, F Chicago. Right. You know, I think that really in that division, honestly, it's probably the most, I think, hatred-filled division, maybe outside of the NFC East. I'll say that about Dallas and the Giants and all them. But obviously, Christy, I think a lot of people have been very much back and forth about, you know, obviously it's recorded on video by the team photographers. It goes, makes its headlines around the web. You know, people saying, hey, it's part of the competitive, it's part of the competitive environment of the game. Hey, show class. It's your first win in a playoff game in 15 years. Christy, your thoughts, though, about Ben Johnson's reaction to the victory. Obviously, I'll say it here. Heat of the moment. You come back, you're losing big. All hope seems to be lost. But also that let's also keep in mind, though, and I had seen the clips, though, the very much icy relationship, no pun intended for the weather in Chicago, but how every game, though, involving Chicago and Green Bay was kind of in a way marred by some banter. I think Ben Johnson took a pot shot at Green Bay during his introductory press conference. Then, obviously, the other big headline has been the simple fact of that Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson had a very quick half-second, shake my hand, kiss my ass sort of thing at the end of the game. Oh. Christy, where, though, do you stand, though, about Ben Johnson's reaction to the win in the locker room, but also the tirade, though, about, F Green Bay, F the Packers, so on and so forth?
I just thought that was just classless. I did. I mean, I get the heat of the moment. He was excited. They've won their first playoff game in 15 years. They've had this rivalry with Green Bay for 104 years. I mean, god damn. But what he did saying F the Packers, uncalled for. Very uncalled for.
Now, I guess, Nick, if I wanted to do this real quick, my former teammate Joe Musgrove did a similar thing in 2017 with the Houston Astros. Obviously, we know about the controversy. You'll hear more about that in Benchmarks a few weeks from now. Mm-hmm. Joe had went live on Instagram, stogie in hand, champagne in his hand, and obviously all of the Padre fans that knew him, myself not included, but I watched it, were chiming in like, thank you for beating the Dodgers, blah, blah, blah. What did Joe say? FTD. Live on Instagram after the game's over. So tying this in, though, to where we're at here, obviously, Nick, I think you'd probably take more exception than probably Christy did. Maybe myself, again, having played team sports, I kind of, again, get it, though. I don't condone it, though, because obviously you should know better when there's cameras in there, and that's going to probably be, sent around the world, basically. But, Nick, obviously, reaction to Ben Johnson's post-game victory speech / tirade against after Green Bay coughed up the game.
See, there's two problems here. And, again, discussed this on ETB 301. And Zan and I kind of debated this because obviously he's a Bears fan. And I believe both sides are wrong in some facets of this scenario. But because the one thing I don't get when this whole fight WWE match started, Matt LaFleur came out and said, we're going to kill the Bears. We're going to take this division. No one's going to beat us. What do you have to gain by saying that before the season? Because if you don't win the division, who looks like the asshole after that?
You do.
You do.
So what ended up happening? The Bears won the division. Mm-hmm. You barely survived as a 7 seed. Mm-hmm. You lost Micah Parsons to injury. You lost quite a few. Jordan Love hasn't been healthy all year. Mm-mm. Did you outplay the Bears for about 3 3/4 of the game? Yeah, you did, but you didn't finish the job.
Exactly.
But even though Matt LaFleur has been, I don't know, braggadocious, maybe is the word I would use here.
He has been, yeah.
Matt LaFleur tried to do the right thing after the game by standing there. It wasn't a drive-by like Mr. Johnson over there.
Oh, geez.
So Matt LaFleur sticks his hand out to try to get a handshake. Ben Johnson comes up, puts his hand for 2 seconds like a fake handshake, and then runs off. Now,
he's like, psych.
I don't know if you saw in part of the camera angle, but the Bears staff mauled him in the process of when they were trying to do the handshake. I'm wondering if they were afraid if someone was going to if there was going to be a fight, or if there was going to be
something may have happened. Who knows?
Yeah, but there's a problem there, because how does that make any sense? You're at the 50-yard line. You're at the center of the field where every camera is watching. You're not starting a fight.
And you've got security all around you. Like, come on, you're not that stupid.
So that doesn't make any sense, that basically the Bears brass grabbed him after he gave the fakest handshake of all time. And then to go into the locker room and just say, fuck you, Packers. Like, what are you gaining from doing that? Like, now I'm rooting even harder for your ass to lose against the Rams. Like, first of all, you're not beating the Rams. So
no, they're not.
So you did that all for nothing, because the Rams are a much better team than you are. I understand the game is in Chicago. I understand they're the higher seed. You're not beating the Rams. You're not beating the Rams. You're not beating Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is the MVP of the league this year. Mm-hmm. You're not beating him. You're not beating with Puka Nacua and a bunch of other weapons. You are not beating that team. And biased Bears fans are not on our show. I don't care. I really don't care. And if I hear a lock next week on Forecast, I'm going to drop my headphones and leave the room. Because my answer, well, number one, my answer to Ben Johnson would be...
You need to shut the fuck up.
No pun intended. But
exactly.
Because Ben Johnson's acting like he won the Super Bowl. Okay?
After winning one game.
Right, exactly.
I understand you have every right to be totally excited that you beat your rival. I compared it to Yankees-Red Sox, okay? Where if the Yankees or the Red Sox beat their counter-rival in the playoffs, did you win the World Series?
No.
In this matchup, did you win the Super Bowl?
No.
Nope.
Did you win the conference championship? No.
Nope.
You won a wild card game. A simple freaking wild card game. Come back to me when you win the Super Bowl, and then if you want to say F you to the Packers, then you can say it.
Right. And then you can pop the champagne and light the cigars.
Fair. All fair points. I will step away from that. Guys, the Flat Beer Award, probably no surprise, is going to the Philadelphia Eagles, who we said, though, guys, last week, we were concerned in a way, at least I was, for the fact that they had a 2 seed or a higher seed in their grasp. Rest of their starters lost in Week 18, had to come back and play San Francisco for in Philadelphia on Saturday. The Niners, despite losing George Kittle, praying for a speedy recovery with the ripped Achilles, but the Niners win 23-19. Monsters, Inc. fans better get that reference, or I'm going to be a little bit upset here as your tender tonight. The Niners win on a game-winning wide receiver to McCaffrey touchdown pass, 23-19 San Fran over Philadelphia. Nick Sirianni and his era effectively over after losing at home to San Francisco as a 3 seed over the weekend?
Should it be? Probably. Will it be? No. That you want the logical response. The logical response is no. Oh, there's Cal.
Hi, Cal.
Good to see you, bud. Thanks for being here.
But yeah, the answer is no. Nick Sirianni will survive. Will the coordinator survive? Absolutely not. The performance by the Eagles not beating the Niners, considering that Kittle was lost to a torn Achilles early on in this game, considering they didn't have Trent Williams in this game, who was hurt. I don't think, or did they have him? I can't remember. I don't think they had him.
I don't think.
No, they didn't have Lane Johnson either.
Well, that was the Eagles. But,
but
Ricky Pearsall, I don't think played for the Niners either.
He wasn't there either.
By the way, can we give credit to Kyle Shanahan for doing more with nothing?
You've got the floor. It's all you, my friend.
I mean, can we give him credit? Like, Kyle Shanahan has done more with nothing than I've ever seen in the last couple of years of the NFL. Brock Purdy went down earlier in the season with injuries. I mean, this guy is incredible. If this guy doesn't get Coach of the Year, I don't know who else deserves it.
Mike Vrabel.
Well,
Vrabel.
Liam Cohen.
The way the Jaguars went out was very disappointing.
Well,
Nine-win turnaround, though, division championship.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. But I'm saying Kyle Shanahan has done incredible things for this team, considering all the injuries they've had, all the schemes they've had to change. And also, Christian McCaffrey doesn't get enough credit on that team either. This guy deserves MVP credit, but he's not going to get it because the MVP every year has to go to a freaking quarterback.
And I think, sadly, that CMC always being hurt every other week that ends in the letter Y and twice on Sunday doesn't help the cause either, sadly.
Yeah,
I get it, though, but in the playoffs, he's probably the most valuable player.
Right, he could be. Christy, obviously, I'm sure it brought great satisfaction to watch the Eagles go down in flames. but I do recall, though, kind of watching some highlights and then, hearing what was going on. And I'm like, why is the Philadelphia offensive coordinator being so damn conservative with the play calling? I'm like, they were up, this game was back and forth, punch, counter, punch. No one really got, I think, more than 6 or 7 points, away from each other. Obviously, Jason Elliott misses a PAT, after the Niners score to go up 7-zip. It's 7-6, and then again, it's back and forth. But from what I was just kind of hearing, though, through the grapevine and even reading through the play-by-play on ESPN.com, I was puzzled of you've got Jalen Hurts, you've got Saquon Barkley. Why are you being so conservative, though, with your play calling? You don't have a safety net if you lose this game. You lose, you are done. Pack the bags, you're going home for the winner. So, Christy, obviously your thoughts about, perhaps as Nick Sirianni's time in Philadelphia over as with how they ended the season, especially, I think, as I said last week on here, I was kind of concerned hearing about that they didn't play their starters in the last game of the season.
Yeah, no, I think Nick Sirianni to me is nothing more than a drama queen. He should be gone, but like Nick said, Sirianni's probably not going to get canned. He's probably going to stay, but the coordinators are probably all going to be out of a job. And that you have Jalen Hurts and you had, why didn't they run the ball? Why didn't they have Saquon Barkley run the ball more? I don't know.
Not
Why
healthy.
not healthy? Why try to force passes into AJ Brown? I don't get it. AJ Brown has been
Stone hands AJ Brown.
Stone hands AJ Brown, and he looks like he doesn't give a you know what either. So
I mean, one thing I would say also is, at first take completely butchered this morning, where they said, is AJ Brown the reason that they lost the game against the Niners? And I'm like, no. I mean, he didn't have a good game. Let me be very clear about that.
It didn't. It's the conservative game planning.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it was a terrible game plan by the offensive coordinator, and he's probably gonna get his ass canned the way that they lost to the Niners, who had all the injuries. But Nick Sirianni's got to take some blame here too. Getting into a fight on the sidelines with AJ Brown, where Big Dom had to go and separate it. By the way, Big Dom, one of the greatest celebrities of all time in Philadelphia. If you didn't know, he's the lead. He's the head of security for the Eagles.
Okay.
But you can't be getting into fights on the sideline. I don't care if you're the head coach. I don't care if you're the water boy. For crying out loud, you don't get it.
Billy Madison.
I was just thinking that myself.
All right, one thought from real quick, Nick. Let's get to one thought from Cal. He said, guys, the Eagles coach doesn't know how to shake another coach's hand. LOL. That was actually Green Bay, Chicago. I don't know if that did it happen again, though, involving Philadelphia and San Francisco?
No. It was I think it was Kyle Shanahan and Sirianni hugged when they met at midfield.
Yeah, so I think Cal's referring to Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur, as we were talking about in our last segment.
Yeah, I mean, is it really? Would I be surprised if Sirianni was gone? No. Is it going to happen? It's not.
No, I would think it's got to be the coordinators. I mean, when he got kids being interviewed on local Philadelphia TV news saying that they hope that the coordinator is gone.
Oh, God.
Something. Guys, let's get to our bar brawl moment. This was a bar brawl game, for example. The Rams went into Carolina and stole one from the Panthers 34-31 as Matthew Stafford's last-minute drive silences the crowd in Charlotte, who, of course, brought Cam Newton back to be the keep-pounding drum major of the day. Christy, the Panthers were a double-digit dog and almost pulled it off. Is this a moral victory for Bryce Young or another reminder that Matthew Stafford is the ultimate late-game veteran as a quarterback?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's a moral victory for someone like Bryce Young. But for Matthew Stafford, I mean, he's going to win that MVP award. He's not going to be denied. And he showed that.
I think, Nick, to Christy's point, though, I think she's right, though, that mainly with Stafford. Now, I know that the MVP for any sport is usually only a regular season award, where I kind of wish, though, that football would adopt the baseball and hockey mindset of the full playoffs. Also get a MVP for like the conference title game or the Super Bowl, obviously, as they already do. But I think, though, Nick, that we kind of we sat here though on Monday during Empty the Beverage and basically said it's a lock in a way, that the Rams were going to beat Carolina. We all thought it would be a blowout though. But I also think, though, Christie's partially right, though, for a team like the Panthers playing in what I am pretty damn sure is the worst division in the National Football League when it comes to, the talent pool. And is this like the second or third year or third time recently that we've had a division winner go to the playoffs with a losing record?
So the NFC South is one of the worst divisions in NFL history. It's not even just the last couple of seasons.
It's not good.
This has led to many conversations about, do we need to do reseeding after the wild card games? Because I'll tell you right now, the Panthers being a home wild card game at 8-9,
where they were 8-9, yes.
And the Rams were 12-5, and they were a road team for the wild card game. How is that fair? How?
I don't know.
And SVP, I think, said it best, as it looks like Nico Collins is getting carted off the field right now for the Texans.
No.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
How's that scoreline looking, by the way?
I don't think it's changed as yet. I'm just waiting for the read.
I can check this.
It's 7-6.
It sounds like it's Tank Dell all over again.
7-6.
Still 7-6 Houston early in the fourth quarter.
Oof.
But they need to fix this reseeding issue. I don't know how they fix it, but a 12-5 team can't be a wild card road team.
No.
They got to do something, and maybe they need to adopt what they're trying to adopt in the NBA, which is instead of having like an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference, I think hockey's trying to do this too, where just take the top half of the league and put them in the playoffs. And whatever the records are, it doesn't matter what the records are at that point because you're just playing for the top half. And then you would rank everybody by round and who they play based off the top half of the league. So say the Eastern Conference is the better conference that year and they win more games. Too bad. Maybe only 3 Western Conference teams make it.
So before we move on here, Nick, that goes back to I think a tangent we either tried talking about on PR on Wednesday or even here in the lounge on Monday. The only, I think, hitch in that plan would be that I think any sport where you win a division, you're guaranteed a top seed at 9 times out of 10, or at least hosting home court, home ice, home field. Would that, though, in a way, maybe tell the NFL that we need to maybe take the incentive away if you win the division title that you can't always host a home game depending on record?
Well, no, you would do like what they do in the Eastern Conference and Western Conference of the NBA. And Texans just hit a field goal. Wow, 51 yards.
Wow.
10-6 now. Texans game.
Real barn burner at Acusure Stadium in Pittsburgh tonight.
But this was one game that was supposed to be a defensive shootout. But what I was starting to say was I think they need to adopt partially what they're doing now in the Eastern and the Western Conference of the NBA because it's the top 4 seeds host the home games.
Yes.
In those rounds. Same thing. The NFL should be the same way. Adopt the how many teams are there right now currently? 32
in the NFL.
So you take the top 16 and the top 4 are seeds, or you can make the top 4 buys if you want.
You could
in that format. And then whoever is below, they play through, and then in the next round, those 4 teams have home games in the next round. But this whole nonsense that a 12-5 team is on the road to start the playoffs is what happens if that team is out?
It's a good question.
And by the way, the spread was so large when we did the show. It was 10.5. And my instincts were 100% right that the 10.5 points in a playoff game is insane. And the game was way closer than I wanted it to be in that situation. But you know what? The Panthers had a great second half. They beat the Rams in the regular season, by the way.
Yes.
They beat the Packers. They beat the Falcons twice in their own division.
Definitely an improvement for them, but still a 1 win shy of 500, and they still got to host a playoff game.
Right.
Yeah,
so
that's just crazy.
So I would, first of all, there's no moral victories in the NFL. I'm just going to say that right now. I think that in the NFL, it's either win or you're sunk at that point. Because that's how the NFL is. It's not like the NBA. You make it a few rounds and you're happy, and then you build on it with draft capital and all that stuff, and you get better. The NFL, you have to win when your team is hot. Think about Buffalo, the way that their run is. Think about it. No Mahomes, no Lamar.
No Joe Burrow.
Yes, and we literally said in the lounge on Monday, if there's ever a time for Buffalo to do it, it's now.
Actually, Chris said it. Actually,
I did. Yeah.
If they don't win now, you might as well just shut shop.
Yep.
And first they are shutting shop of Highmark Stadium for a new $1 billion palace next season.
I mean, them and their beer made out of snow, by the way. But you know what? Stafford is the ultimate lounge veteran based on this question. I was happy for him when he finally won a Super Bowl in LA. It was good timing. He had to leave Detroit. They were never going to win with him being there. It was a great trade in the long run for...
I was going to say, maybe the one rare instance where a trade benefits not one, but both teams in the trade.
Exactly. I mean, Lions have got Jared Goff, and Jared Goff has blossomed since he's been in Detroit.
Yeah, but Goff still hasn't won anything. Like, Stafford really has won something, and it was awesome. Remember, what was it, last year they played in the playoffs? Which made for good theater, by the way.
Yes.
Right. Stafford will always be the better quarterback. He just needed a change of scenery because he was never going to win in Detroit.
Yeah.
And finally having weapons like Puka Nacua definitely helps your case. And what was Stafford's biggest weapon? It was Calvin Johnson, and he retired.
Calvin Johnson for all those years, Megatron.
And he retired because he said he was taking Advil like it was candy to stop his injuries from being hurt.
He was getting concussions like left and right, I think.
But yeah, he's the ultimate lounge veteran. It's not even a question.
Yeah, definitely. But guys, the bar tab verdict from yours truly. Sorry, Philadelphia, you are paying high price tonight. A home loss to a 6 seed who also lost their star wide receiver or tight end is a bill that usually gets your coach fired by Tuesday. So thanks a lot, Philadelphia, for nothing if you pick Philadelphia. And we will not have a repeat champ in the Super Bowl once again come February 8th in Santa Clara, California. Yeah. All righty, gang, let's go to the Empty the Beverage segment here. We're going to preview next Monday's national title game, the number 1 Indiana Hoosiers. The feel-good story in the from the Big Ten will take on 10-seed Miami, practically a home game for the Canes playing at Hard Rock Stadium. Again, the stakes guys toast the baton in the monologue next week or the public tab where you get roasted if, in fact, you get it wrong. Guys, 2 questions real quick. Let's first get to the first one. We'll start with Nick on the first one. Nick, the Hoosiers are currently 15-0 and trying to finish off the greatest Cinderella run in Big Ten history. Are the Hoosiers the smart money, or is Miami's home field advantage at Hard Rock Stadium too much for them to even overcome?
No, Indiana's smart money, and it's not close. Indiana's had an incredible year. Kurt Signetti deserves Coach of the Year. I mean, this guy has been on a run, finally getting this program figured out. They had the most losses a couple years back. Now they're top of the world. They are going to win next Monday. They will go 16-0. They will have an undefeated season. Their offense is incredible. No one can stop them. Miami's defense is not great. Don't get me wrong, Carson Beck's been a great story. But not against Indiana. They're going to get They're going to get toasted.
They're going to get toasted where they host.
Yeah.
coming up next Monday.
And it's not the Pop-Tarts Bowl, so no Pop-Tarts.
No, it's not. No Pop-Tarts.
Christy, your thoughts again. The Hoosiers again, who we know them for basketball. We know them for the movie Hoosiers. Yep. Gene Hackman and all them. But now here's the football program, Christy, 15-0, trying to finish off the greatest Cinderella run perhaps in Big Ten history. Are they a smart money pick come next Monday, or is the Hurricanes playing at home, literally and figuratively at Hard Rock Stadium, too much for even them? And, of course, Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza to overcome next week.
Well, no, definitely. I think that Cinderella story is definitely going to be completed. Indiana is the smart choice. Nick sang the praises of the coach. Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winner, has been on fire. And Indiana, we know him for basketball, but their football team this year has just been really, really good. So, and even though Miami's, they're playing it at home, I guess you could say, it's Indiana's time. And I think that the Cinderella story is going to have a happy ending.
Nick, do we have an update from the Steel City?
Yes.
I was wondering why you were doing this.
Rodgers got sacked, and the Texans just returned it for a touchdown.
That game's over.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that should have been a penalty on the Texans. They hit him in the helmet.
God damn it.
They don't have targeting yet in the NFL, do they?
No, I don't think they do.
Into the helmet.
They should have targeting in the NFL.
I think they should.
I'm watching the replay right now. Holy crap.
Yeah, Indiana's going to blow this one away. I think the spread is like 8.5 or 9. Yeah. So I think they're going to win that by more.
It's going to be 17-6 Houston.
Christy, I'm going to go back to you real quick for one more question for this particular segment here. In perspective, real quick, the Canes beat the Ohio State earlier this year by 10 in the first round or the second round of the playoffs. The Hoosiers beat them for the title in the conference by 3. Whose resume probably looks better? Miami getting hot at the right time as the 10 seed, or again, maybe to our earlier point, the Hoosiers being 15-0 though. But though, is the team like Miami, who's played one more game than Indiana, coming in hot at the right time, come a playoff run here as a 10 seed? Who actually do you think probably looks better on paper right now between Miami and Indiana, despite the fact that the Hoosiers are unbeaten?
It definitely looks like it's Miami, despite the defense not being great. But sticking to my original point, I think Indiana's Cinderella story is going to have a happy ending. They're going to be hoisting that trophy.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, obviously, I kind of get the logic of the second question. Again, Miami has to play to get, basically plays a, wild card game, basically, to get into the field. And, they take down Ohio State. They beat A&M. They beat Texas. They beat Texas A&M. They beat Ohio State, and then they obviously now are going to be playing here for the Natty in their home stadium, though. So maybe team getting hot at the right time over the Cinderella run, though. I think we're all staying with UI, though. I am.
Indiana's going to blow this game to the water. They're the best offense in college football right now.
Quarterback. Wow.
I mean, if the Oregon game didn't really like open people's eyes about the Hoosiers offense, like I had knew that they were good, that they've been kind of building this thing from square one again. Tom Allen being there for a bit, then Cignetti comes over, and I think though the blowing out Bama kind of caught my eye. Like, okay, they just went into the Rose Bowl and beat Bama by 30 points, which obviously was like Nick was probably like, laughing at Bama. Hey, a three-loss team got into the CFP. Thanks for showing up after you had the great comeback versus Oklahoma. Then, though, when they do it to Oregon again, though, they already had beaten them in Eugene earlier in the season. To do it again, though, and beat them, 55-21 or 56-21?
What, this game? You're talking about this game? 56-22.
When they beat Oregon in the Peach Bowl.
Yeah, 56-22.
And I was checking the score when I was at a lacrosse game that night, and I'm like, they literally are just like, sledgehammering people. And again, who would have thunk it'd be Indiana doing this right now? Not Bama, not Oregon, not anyone else, though. Again, Miami, again, plummeting, coming hot, though. But again, folks, that is our preview for the national championship game. Again, that'll be next Monday. We will be on air probably right around the time the game's probably ending, I'd say, or pretty dang close to it. Again, they'll kick off at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern from Miami Gardens, Florida, across the ESPN family of networks. As a reminder, though, gang, we once more would love for you to, again, follow us on social media. We are, again, on your social platforms. Follow us at the ETB Lounge. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And, of course, follow the network. We are at ETB Network. And also make sure you subscribe today to youtube.com/ETB Network. Again, we have plenty of podcast content. Nick, I know we've been kind of, shuffling around the furniture at the bar tonight, though, but I know we've got like a moving the goalposts with unnecessary wagers like combo show coming up. We've got 301 of ETB Sports coming up. What else do we got? Yeah,
so we're just trying to get everybody all, as Aaron Rodgers just got sacked again.
Ouch.
But, yeah, so we have moving the goalposts and unnecessary wagers. We're trying to get some scheduling because we have some people sick. So we're just trying to get some
late winter crud's going around again, huh?
Yeah. I mean, and then obviously we'll have football forecast live again, which we started with the wild card round. Usually we only do the Super Bowl show live. We're doing the whole playoffs live this time around. So make sure you join us 6 p.m. Eastern time on Fridays for the entire playoff charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Because I am thinking about food right now.
Oh, never mind.
But yeah, we have a lot coming up. Forever Power 5. Their show's coming up on Thursday. They're previewing the game, and then they'll do one more show after the Natty is finally hoisted up. And then we head into our next seasons, which is the NBA and Major League Baseball and hitting for the cycle. If we ever get that figured out, scheduling wise. Hopefully that'll be back. Some more NBA content. But there's a lot. So just make sure you tune in.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned is all we can say. And again, we got stuff 7 days a week. So there's no excuse now for you not to jump on the ETB train and get us to where we want to go. Ooh. All right, gang, let's go to some bench money. The north side of Chicago just spent some serious cachet to make sure their third baseman and third base hole does not swallow them whole. Alex Bregman jumped ship from Boston to Chicago. He signs a 5-year, $175 million deal with the Chicago Cubs. The deal comes with $70 million in deferred money and a full no-trade clause and also no opt-outs. It marks the third largest contract in Chicago Cubs franchise history. Nick, does Alex Bregman make the Cubs the immediate favorites in the NL Central Division, or is $35 million a year too much for a 31 going on 32-year-old third baseman with a recent history of quad injuries?
Ugh.
I was shocked by the deal slightly, but it was only $10 million more than what the Red Sox were actually offering in this situation. I'm kind of surprised he left Boston. But at the same time, Boston's not what it used to be when it was winning titles all the way back to 04, and they
Mhm.
won like 3 in 6 or 7 years.
Right, yeah, right around there.
04, 07, and 2013.
Yeah,
Yes.
about
So
3.
it was like 3 in like 10 years,
No, wait a
essentially.
minute.
But
2018, I think? Or
2018. So four.
Yeah, that one.
So
4.
about 4 in 8
15
years, I'd say.
4 and 14 years.
Yeah, it's like 4 and 15-ish years. But
Yeah, right around there.
the Red Sox are not what they used to be. John Henry doesn't give two shits about that organization anymore. He cares more about soccer or whatever. What's that franchise he owns again? Soccer? Is it Everton?
Liverpool.
Oh, Liverpool. Which I think,
Premier League.
which for value, I think it's one of the most valuable in soccer. Them and
One of 'em.
Manchester United.
Mhm. Yep.
But he doesn't care about the Red Sox there. I remember when John Henry and Larry Lucchino, that's what they cared about was the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, shit happened, and now people, they got into other investments, and they have that Fenway Sports Group or whatever they call it
We just
now.
sold off the Penguins for like the 5th time in 10 years.
Isn't that the group? That's the group that has LeBron James, I think, in it,
Yes.
doesn't it? Which,
Oh boy.
what the NBA players owning everything now. But
Oh god.
but you know
It's
what?
getting ridiculous.
But you know what? Is this really a surprise to me? No. Players go where the money is. I mean, it's not a shocking scenario there. It's $10 million more. In the scheme of things, is it really more? No, because of all the taxes and deferments and but shocker, $70 million in deferred money. We're seeing deferred money against the Dodgers.
Woo!
What was the actual question? Does this make them immediate favorite? No, I wouldn't say it makes them the immediate favorite, but I would definitely say it makes them a better team. I can't deny that. I'm just looking at the standings from last year because I've been so
I
out
think
of
the Brewers kind of won that division at like the 11th hour of the season, if memory serves me correct. Or actually, they may have clinched it super early. I think actually
they did. Then it got
did.
close in the end, but the Brewers are still the lead of the NL Central. It's kind of disrespectful to the Brewers to say that just because they got Alex Bregman, that puts them over the Brewers. The Brewers are, even though they're a bunch of no names, they played really well. They gelled. They have a lot of chemistry. I think their pitching is better than Chicago's is right now currently. So yeah, I would say Milwaukee's the lead of that division, not Chicago.
Christy, if anything, this makes it a 2-horse race right now in the NL Central. Brew Crew and Cubs. You know, you hope you see like a resurgence though from the Reds, who came on fire at the end of the season last year.
Yeah.
St. Louis, being on the fritz again is just like beyond weird for a baseball fan. So I think it just makes those two teams like your actual front runners. And then obviously you've got Pittsburgh, who again, I don't know what they're doing. They're actually signing players, but they don't really move the needle still in that division at this rate. But Christy, maybe again to the point though, does Bregman make the Cubs the immediate front runner or favorite in the NL Central, or is the $35 million a year too much for a 32-year-old who has been having recent issues with his quad over the course of his last couple of seasons in Houston and of course in Boston?
Well, he doesn't put the Cubs over the top, but he definitely makes them interesting. And his salary, I'd say it is a little much for someone like him who's been having quad issues.
Nick, I think before we get to the top of the hour, again, this show is just flying by. I just love how the show just goes right by with 2 or 3 people on the panel.
Yeah.
But Nick, I'm glad though you brought up about the Red Sox, and I know if Ben Cruz was here, he probably would have like some stern words for the front office and Craig Breslow. I saw a tweet that I think has been making the rounds since the deal got announced. That the Red Sox, as you said, though, Nick, so, bullseye, up for 3, bang, as Mike Breen would say, or, a 3-point goal at MSG is, you're right. The Red Sox right now kind of have a identity crisis because I think and I think Christy could even vouch for this too, with her being a Red Sox fan.
Of course.
Look at how they became a daytime Emmy Award-winning soap opera last season. I say that for the fact about the Rafael Devers situation, how Boston brought in Bregman, where Devers had kind of been playing third. They wanted Devers to learn to play first, and he didn't want to be a team player. Tristan Casas gets hurt on that very fluky play, jars his ACL. ruptures multiple knee tendons. I think he fractured his leg in the process. And then Devers says, okay, I'll learn to play first base. By the time he says that, after the Red Sox even said, hey, don't bring your glove, you're going to DH for us, he's dealt to San Francisco to probably hit at one of the worst ballparks to hit in if you are a left-hand hitter or in general in the National League or in general. And just like I think, Nick, the way this whole thing played out, the Red Sox screwed themselves, if you ask me, with how they handled Devers, the thing with Bregman, the flip-flopping of where Devers is going to play, and then Devers hurts his own case, if you ask me, too, by not being a team player when Tristan Casas is injured during that, the run of the season. And he says, I don't want to play first. I'm not going to play first. I'm not going to play first. And he says, well, hey, if I'm needed, I'll play first. So, Nick, perspective, though, about that whole entire debacle that happened, involving the Bregman signing, but also Devers kind of being the cancer in the locker room and kind of brought that whole team down in a way last season.
See, what made no sense to me is when that happened last season, when Rafael Devers essentially said, I'm just not going to be a team player and screw you. And basically went like this to the...
Or I could do something worse, but I'm not going to right now.
Yeah, but he just totally went after the organization. And if I'm not mistaken, he rubbed a Red Sox legend the wrong way when he was... who was going to help him play first base. Also, if I remember, I can't remember that off the top of my head, but I remember that.
Was it Big Poppy?
No.
Devers pulled that with Will Clark in San Francisco.
Oh, that's what it was. But
how dare you disrespect Will the Thrill like that?
But the point is,
shame.
So that whole thing happens. First of all, Ben almost cried, if you remember, when he did the video.
I remember that, yes.
And I'm like,
poor Ben.
And I had first of all, I told Ben afterwards, I'm like, let him go. He never wanted to really be there. He never wanted to be. And by the way, going to San Francisco, where most guys are either doubles or triples hitters or have speed, he's either a home run or a strikeout hitter.
And that ballpark just does not play in his favor. I would know very well from my time, watching the Giants play the Padres. That ballpark, regardless of what time of year it is a horror movie trying to hit there. And I'm shocked they're even able to get a big name guy like a Devers, a Chapman, or a Adames to go there because of how that ballpark plays. And they have done so much tinkering though with the outfield fences of that ballpark in the last 25 years. It's beyond pathetic.
Well, they try to add walls. They try to add walls like what the Orioles did with Camden Yards, where they added an extra wall to left field, or like in Citi Field when they added the extra party deck because they couldn't hit the ball out of the ballpark to left field. But Rafael Devers was a human head case. Okay, the Red Sox. First of all, Rafael Devers did them a favor because he got a ridiculous contract, and now the Red Sox get that off their books. They don't have to pay for it, and they were able to do way more with other guys who actually wanted to be there, like Tristan Casas before he got hurt. I can't remember the other young star that came up before Anthony. Roman Anthony, who looked really spectacular, by the way, but unfortunately got hurt too. Right? You know what, Devers? If you're going to be a head case, you're not going to survive in Major League Baseball. If you're going to be a cancer in the locker room, you're not going to survive. And he was a star, but until he did himself in, and he got off to a human slump of epic proportions, if you remember, didn't he make the most errors at third base, and that's why they tried to move him to first at one point?
I think that was why.
So they were also trying to do you a favor, moving you to a position that might be a little easier to play, getting you away from third base. But in his mind, I'm only playing third base, and that's it. Well, that's not how team sports work.
Nope.
It's not.
I would know about head case players, some guy named Juan Soto in San Diego between 2022 and 2023. Sorry, D-Mart, don't at me. Christy, your thoughts, though, about the Bregman and Devers fiasco from last season before we get to the top of the hour?
I mean, it was an absolute disaster. And he was ahead. I mean, Devers was a total head case. I mean, I'm going to use harsh language, but I would call him what he is. He was an asshole.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox didn't need an asshole on their team if he wasn't willing to learn how to play another base that, like Nick said, might have been easier for him to play.
I mean, it's not David Ortiz. It's not Manny Ramirez. Manny being Manny. You were willing to put up with the antics of Manny Ramirez because he was hitting the ball out of the ballpark every single day.
He was producing.
And he was producing.
you'll take the antics of the player as long as they're producing. But if they're not producing, you have every right to jump on their back.
I mean,
I agree.
He was clutch in the playoffs, clutch home run after clutch. Him and David Ortiz, two of the clutchest players in Red Sox history.
Yes.
Ortiz had his antics. Manny had his antics. I mean, between going and using the bathroom behind the monster at Fenway Park.
High-fiving the fan in Baltimore when he made that catch in the outfield.
And he gave him a high five when
he still turn a double play on it.
Yes.
Or the cutoff in left field when Johnny gave the ball in.
God damn,
like,
that was
you're
great.
willing to put up with it, though, because the man produced. Now, I'm not saying he cleanly produced, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But because he was taking a women's growth hormone or whatever, or what was it called? PCG or whatever, which is
something.
Well, no, it was a women's hormone to apparently it hid that he was taking HGH in the process of it. But he was producing up touchdown Texans.
Game over.
Wow. It's over.
God damn it, Steelers.
Thank you, Pittsburgh, for coming.
The Texans went into the Steelers' home and basically ruffled all the furniture and destroyed it. Or better yet, they went into the bar, crushed all the glasses, and threw all the chairs.
Yeah.
Hey, easy on that merchandise, will ya?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, guys, we're at the hour mark. Welcome into the 97 viewers who are joining us on the ETB Lounge. It is our second show of our tenure here on Empty the Bench. Callan McClurg, Nick Morgeson, Christy Wilson here with you for one more hour, recapping all of the NFL Wild Card Weekend carnage. We're going to talk more about the Steelers and Texans game in just a couple of heartbeats here. We'd like to remind you again, though, gang, that ETB is live on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. You can follow us once more. As you already have said plenty of times, again, we are at the ETB Lounge on Twitter, IG, and on TikTok. We are also at ETB Network on your favorite social platforms as well. Again, we are here every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific, 10 to midnight Eastern here on ETB. And again, we have our Saturday program involving Nick DiMartino with more of the comedy-based roast of the sports week and weekend on Saturday nights as well. Again, we had that episode last Saturday. I'm still laughing about what we had talked about involving the WNBA, as Nick and I will talk more about on Wednesday on Press Row at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern. Again, we will be having Bart Winkler, formerly of ISN, joining us, I should say, for the third guest in 2 weeks on Press Row on Wednesday morning. All right, guys, let's get to the back of the napkin segment here. The ongoing game right now, Texans versus Pittsburgh. Right now, this game is all Texans. Guys, the napkin map, though, is C.J. Stroud versus Aaron Rodgers, veteran versus prodigy. Christy, if Aaron Rodgers does lose tonight's game at home to C.J. Stroud, is this the last time we ever see him in a NFL, let alone Pittsburgh uniform?
Yeah, probably. But then again, he's so competitive. I don't see him going out after a loss like that. He's going to want to come back more determined than ever. And I'm sure I don't know what the length of his contract with Pittsburgh is, but if it expires after this, it's over.
Yeah.
Over. Oh, jeez.
Okay, Vince Carter, we get it. It's over. It's over.
It's over.
We get it. It's over.
R-E-L-A.
Oh, Mr. Bando showed up, Nick.
Man.
Yes, we got burned tonight. No thanks to the Texans defense, which Zan and I did say the Texans defense is unbelievable, though.
If we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far.
Thank you, Cam Ward, for your thoughts. We appreciate that a lot.
I wouldn't even go that far. That's
not fair.
Oh man.
But,
so
but I think Aaron Rodgers is probably going to come back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Nick, how to feel about it, though. Obviously, Rodgers, I think, has a lot. I feel like, though, he still has a lot to prove. Now, I think this year, though, he proved a lot in a way, coming back off the Achilles injury, the soap opera year with the JETS, Jets, go fight, win. Last season, as we had long, said about, what the Jets have been, what they are. And I think that Aaron was probably out to prove. I still got a little bit left in the tank, though. And I think, though, him and Tomlin maybe have worked out pretty well over the course of his first season. They obviously won a division title at the very end, thanks to Tyler Loop. Baltimore Ravens missing the kick, though, week 18. Yeah. That gave them the lead, and let alone gave them the entire division championship. But though, Nick, if Rodgers does bow out tonight at home to C.J. Stroud and the Texans, could this perhaps be the final time that we see him ever play in Pittsburgh, let alone the NFL again? You're obviously saying no, but what do you think?
Hell no. He will come back. I think he might come back to Pittsburgh. I really do, because I think now that he found a home, I think he likes Tomlin. Now, here's the issue you're going to run into, because at this rate, there's roughly 3 minutes left in this game. They're trailing by 18. They're not coming back in this game. So
They're not.
Harbaugh got fired after 18 seasons in Baltimore because of performance and all that stuff, and also losing to the Steelers. But even though I don't think that was Harbaugh's, that's an interception by the Texans. Oh my God, no. Oh my God, he's still in. He just scored for a touchdown. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's how that went. There you go.
Oh, you can't make
The
this up.
Steelers are pathetic right
baby,
now.
Burn.
So inferno.
Burn, baby, burn.
I mean, if we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
Now they get it.
Thank you, Cam Ward.
Thank you, Cam Ward. We appreciate the insight.
They're playing like ass.
They are playing like ass. It's horrible. Oh,
I have to look at our picks now, because
I'm sure.
I think the more important question for the Steelers would be this.
Who are you people?
Well, first of all, no one thought they were going to play this bad. I'm not saying they were going to make it all the way. Let me be very clear about that.
I think so too.
But I thought they would have come out and played a little bit better. But the Texans' defense is Super Bowl worthy. The offense still has some questions. Now, people are going to say, well, they've scored 30 points today, Nick. How much more do you want them to do? And I'm like, you're playing a Steelers team. Okay? Like, I didn't think they were going to be this bad and only put up 6 points. But Aaron Rodgers is 42 years old. Let's not forget that either. Okay? Who are they going to play in the next round? Because now I'm losing track of.
Let's see.
Oh my God, Grant's going to go 5-0.
Oh God. Oh, Grant's gonna win this week.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind on forecast on Friday.
New England. Thank you, Zan.
Wait, so
and also
Zan,
thank you, Apple Sports app.
By the way, Zan is of the belief he would lean towards no about this being Rodgers' last game.
Right.
Oh,
what happened?
This extra point.
Oh.
Not that it matters, but
that was.
New England's going to be a tough game. I'm just going to say that now.
They are. I mean, if you watched how they played yesterday, then yeah.
But
they're going to be tough.
But the Texans' defense is going to be rough, like the rest of the playoffs, and that's going to be unbelievable. But as I'm being told to put headphones on because I'm being too loud in the house.
Oh, God.
But the Texans are a good team. They are a really good team, and the Texans are going to have to play good football if they're going to want to get by. Yeah. It's as plain and simple as that. By the way, 100 people officially watching right now.
Thank you.
I think we hit 100 on all shows so far.
I think we have. By the way, more from Mr. Bando. When people watch the show, we talk about that aspect for at least 10 minutes. You and I both agreed, though, Nick, that it's gonna be a good game. It was until like the levee broke here.
Yeah, I don't. Aaron Rodgers is definitely not retiring after this performance. I'm going to call that now.
This is going to leave an insanely bitter taste in his mouth that he's going to want to get rid of.
Does he really?
If anything, it'll make him hopefully more motivated, to come back for one more year.
The problem is, though, Tomlin should not survive this because this is a terrible performance by the Steelers. But you know what? Because it's Mike Tomlin and the Roonies don't fire anybody. Oh. Sorry if I admit when we talked about whether Houston would play no. Yes.
Ah, gotcha. Okay, thank you.
And I was going to mention that I think Mike Tomlin has at least Pittsburgh has 1 to 2 more seasons to tie and break a record set by the Cowboys for most consecutive winning seasons.
Well, 500 or better, right?
500 or better,
Yeah.
exactly.
Does anyone give a shit about Tomlin's 500 or better record? Like, if you're
No.
not going to win a Super Bowl, I think he won a Super
One.
Bowl, like, I forgot, was that like 07 or something? Was it
Right.
early in the tenure?
Was that the one where they beat Arizona?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
the one.
I think you're
I
right.
still have a friend who's very upset about that, by the way.
Oh wait,
Oh, so 09.
Zan's got the answer.
09. It was
Yeah,
08,
there we go.
09.
Mm-hmm.
I only
Okay.
remember that. I only remember that year because the San Diego Chargers
Mm-hmm.
were 0-4 to start the season, I think,
Ugh.
or 0-2, 0-3, and they were 4-8 at one point, and the Denver Broncos gave them the division championship. The Chargers wound up finishing 8-8. We hosted Indianapolis. I happened to be at the game, believe it or not, with my dad. We were in the upper end zone of Qualcomm Stadium where Darren Sproles ran in the game-winning touchdown, and I felt the stadium shaking.
Oh,
And
God.
we went to Pittsburgh and got clobbered, and then they ended up winning the Super Bowl.
Zan's got a remark on Pittsburgh.
Antonio Brown with the touchdown.
Oh, God. I
yeah,
remember
that's
that.
right.
I remember that. I thought that was going to be the Super Bowl where Larry Fitzgerald was going to finally get a Super Bowl.
Kurt Warner nearly had his second almost in that season.
Almost.
So close yet so far.
Yet so far.
Oh, someone else agrees in a
Yeah,
way.
Aaron
Rodgers
Rodgers
showed his age tonight.
Mm-hmm.
This time I agree. Yeah, Aaron
Yes.
Rodgers completely showed his age. He can't escape the pocket. The Texans' defense is too fast for Aaron Rodgers. If you watch, every time he tried to escape the pocket, he just can't run out of it anymore.
No, he can't.
It's just facts. It's facts. And like I say, Nick, angry Jet fan about Aaron Rodgers. No, like he's old. He can't do it anymore.
Nope.
We're still, I think, shocked that Brady did it at what, age 45 or 44, 45?
Okay,
Yeah,
but
but
Tom,
Brady is a
it's
beast of
apples
a.
to oranges, but still playing this game at that high of a level at that age.
yeah,
It's
but Tom
insane.
Brady was a physical specimen.
It was a beast of a different. He was a completely different animal.
The guy, him and LeBron James spent $1 million a year on their body to stay in shape.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fact. You can look that up too. I mean,
Workouts, diet, that sort of thing.
no, but they spent like $1 million on private training and
Trainers, chefs, you name it.
chefs. Like they took their craft seriously
Yes.
in a lot of regards.
Cal says, I think Rodgers should dip and then sign with the Cowboys.
Shut up, dude. Come on now. Don't do that to me. Do not do that to me. I don't wish that at all.
Cal, I love the humor, but there's no way, though, because I think that Dak is like locked up for like the next 30 years, it feels like, as the quarterback. Because
About a few at least, but he's making an insane amount of money.
It's one of those things where you're just like, first of all, I don't think Aaron, but can you imagine Aaron Rodgers and Jerry Jones having to exist together?
They'd be fighting. I think they would be fighting each other.
well,
a
the
lot.
radio appearances would be like must listen radio on 105.3 down there.
105.3 The Fan. Yeah, that would be hilarious.
You know what Jerry Jones would say Aaron Rodgers is?
Because he's a raw pain in the ass.
And he would be right too.
Just saying. I got to get that in once.
Yes.
Oh, man. Or we can just hear it from Tom Albano if that happens.
How about them Cowboys?
Like,
That's the one.
Yeah, Cal's still going to say he thinks Rodgers is still better than Dak in his opinion.
That is up for debate.
if you're talking about talent currently, I would say no. Age, he's definitely younger.
Resume-wise, though, Rodgers has the ring. Dak doesn't have one. I know because I know that we talk about ring culture all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in this case, that's correct. Aaron Rodgers won a ring. He's won an MVP.
And if memory serves me correct, didn't Dak just break like every single Staubach or Aikman-owned passing record in Cowboy history?
Also broke a Romo passing record, too.
Okay, but who cares about breaking records?
Yeah.
Win a title.
I know.
And because people are, it's ring culture chasing. Yeah, win a damn title if you want to be recognized as a better player. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is better technically because he won a title. Duh.
It enhanced his chances of going into the Hall of Fame.
By the way, they're showing the games because they're going over the divisional weekend schedule.
Okay.
So it looks like Bills Broncos is going to be the 4:30, and of course they flashed it away too quick for me to see.
Oh God! Here, I can get it up. So it's Saturday. It's Niners, Seahawks, Bills, Broncos, Rams, Bears, and Texans, Patriots. So Sunday, Saturday, Niners, Seahawks, and Bills, Broncos, and then Sundays, Rams, Bears, and Texans, Patriots on
The
Sunday.
game is officially over. 30-6, Texans over the Steelers.
Ouch.
It's not how That's definitely not how I saw that game going. Great. Now I got to listen. Now I got to listen to Grant gloat because he got 5-0.
Well, the bar tab verdict about Aaron Rodgers' future.
How about them Cowboys?
No,
it's not that one.
Not that one.
RELAX.
Relax. I'll be back is
Yeah.
the verdict on the napkin for tonight's program. Guys, flying under the coaster tonight, though, is some hallway heat. And this story came out about a week or two after the incident actually happened. But current Sacramento Kings player Dennis Schroeder has been suspended for 3 games for trying to confront and attempting to strike Lakers player Luka Doncic in the hallway of Crypto.com Arena roughly 40 minutes after the game ended back on December the 28th. The incident stemmed from Doncic telling Schroeder, "You should have signed that contract, baby," open and close quote, referring to the infamous $84 million extension that he rejected from the LA Lakers. Christy, should we appreciate the 90s style intensity of a hallway confrontation, or is Schroeder just proving that Doncic is living rent-free in his head in wake of what has come down?
I think Luka is living rent-free in Schroeder's head. I mean, look, do I appreciate the 90s type hallway competition? Yeah, but not in this day and age. It's not allowed anymore.
Nick, obviously, this is not the first time that we've heard about hallway issues at what we know as Staples Center, now called Crypto.com Arena in downtown Los Angeles. We obviously knew about the Rockets and Clippers when I think that James Harden and some teammates had found the secret hallway to get to where the the locker rooms are. There was a big kerfuffle between both teams when the game had concluded. Now, 90s intensity, Nick, I don't think warrants hallway confrontation. I think 90s basketball culture, I'm thinking Rodman kicking camera guys in the nuts. I'm thinking clotheslines of Kurt Rambis by Kevin McHale in the 86 NBA Finals. I'm thinking of more of the on-court stuff more than beef with the national team, as we heard about Michael Jordan talking about Isaiah Thomas with the Dream Team in 92, as you'll talk about, I think, later on down the road for benchmarks. But Nick, your thoughts, though. Should we appreciate the 90s style intensity between Schroeder and Doncic, or is Dennis proving, though, that Luka is living rent-free in his head, though, with that comment made during that game that, again, was 3 days after Christmas, and the punishment came out within the last couple of days?
You know what? I think the NBA is a little too politically correct when it comes to these. Having a little scuffle and allowing fights, who cares? Let it happen. It's part of the culture of sports. It's part of rivalries. It's part of... Oh, they didn't answer that. So Bills, Broncos, 4:30. San Francisco, Seattle, 8 p.m. That's Saturday. Texans, Patriots, 3 p.m. Sunday. And Rams, Bears, 6:30 Eastern time on the NBC.
Ooh.
So the Bears get the spotlight again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But no, I love this culture. Let them fight. I miss the 90s. I miss the basketball theory of basketball, the anthem of basketball, where they were allowed to hit each other and they didn't scream and bitch like LeBron James every time he gets poked.
Right.
And the refs have to blow the whistles on everything. Like,
miss that old 90s stuff.
This has nothing to do with living rent-free.
Even though
someone
the 90s
said
had the Jordan rules, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
there's
but
Jordan, and then there's everybody else.
I get that, but at the same time, players were allowed to hit each other, and they got up and didn't get offended every time it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, they would brawl, and then they would continue to play a game. Now, if you brawl in a game, they have to stop the game and clear everybody out. It's like another bad version of Malice at the Palace, for crying out loud. Which, by the way, that is a great Netflix documentary. Yeah. If you ever want to go watch one, they did a whole behind the scenes on Malice at the Palace, which, by the way, I remember watching when that was on ESPN.
I remember watching the game and then watching the fallout of it, too.
And then
Same.
Larry Brown, who was a Hall of Fame head coach at the time, had to get on the PA mic and tell the fans to stop throwing shit into the hallway as the security was running the Pacers players, covering their heads as they're running through the hallway.
I still remember the fan that dumped like a whole box full of some soda splashed on Reggie Miller.
It wasn't soda.
No, it was
beer or
definitely.
something
I
like
mean,
that.
someone threw a beer when Ron Artest was laying on the scores table, and then he jumped the table. And I remember I think Bring was calling the game for ESPN. And
yes,
Artest is going to the stands. He's going to the stands.
It was Mike Breen, and it was Anthony, whatever his name is, the former NBA player, Greg Anthony, when he was working for ESPN at the time. That's how long ago it was. I think that was the 04 year, right?
04 year.
Yeah.
Was that the year they won the title?
They beat the Lakers to stop the four-peat.
Yep.
So that was an incredible team. That was, ironically, Chauncey Billups, who's now Rip Hamilton, Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace. By the way, two wild players in Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace.
Ben Wallace had like the craziest hair ever.
No, but Rasheed, the king of the technical foul before Draymond Green ever earned that title.
Yes.
He was the one that made the suspension fun for he would get a certain amount of text and get suspended. And Draymond, I think, got enough in the playoffs a couple of years ago, right? During one of their playoff runs, he got suspended for a game.
He got suspended in the year they won 73 games. He got suspended in the finals, and that let Cleveland back into the series.
Do you remember where he went the day of the suspension? Do you remember?
No.
He went to watch the A's game at the Coliseum.
He was
suspended for a game.
He was in the press box. He was in the press box, and he was on the broadcast the day of the game that he got suspended. Go figure that one.
Excuse me.
But it was just incredible, and you know what? I have no problem with this. It's part of the culture. You want to stir up some drama and some entertainment for the sport. Not everything is supposed to be politically correct.
Yeah, I mean, look, I grew up obviously at the pinnacle of when the Kings and Lakers had their very much bad blood rivalry in the early 2000s when the Kings were actually really good, as I kind of documented a bit in episode 7 of Small Market Edition this past Friday. Again, you can go and catch that on your podcast app. We talk about the Kings nearly leaving Sacramento. It took Kevin Johnson, one of my favorite point guards of all time, and became city mayor of the city to keep the franchise in town after the arena was deemed unplayable and it was getting old. The team wasn't, playing well. Anyway, but I remember, though, guys, the flashpoint of Lakers Kings in 01-02, early 2000s, and the one year where the Kings actually were the number 1 seed, I think, in the Western Conference. I mean, that was, the Bibbies and the Vlade Divacs and Peja, Chris Webber, I forget who their head coach was. I think George Karl was their head coach. I want to say. I might be wrong on that. But
for the Kings?
Yeah, I think in 01, I want to say. I forget. But either way, though, that team was scary good. And the fact, though, that they pushed the Lakers as much as they did, though, and obviously, the Kings, had stolen games. Yeah.
Rick Adelman
was the head coach.
Rick Adelman, okay.
I don't know why I thought George. I think Karl coached later on in his tenure in Sacramento.
He Nuggets coach. George Karl was Nuggets head coach.
Okay.
I don't know. You know what? It's an interesting time for the NBA with everything that's going on and the gambling scandal and trying to figure that out. By the way, yes. So exclusive, and now we're gonna have to cover this on Wednesday on Press Row. There's an exclusive out from Front Office Sports saying there's optimism ESPN's takeover of NFL media could close this April. Sources tell FOS the deal could be finalized in time for the 26-27 season, giving ESPN full leverage for its Super Bowl coverage.
God damn it. Wow.
I wonder if this will be finalized before the NFL draft.
That is a possibility.
Maybe, but I think they just want to get it done before the next upcoming regular season.
Yeah.
Which would be insane if... Well, the deal was finished. They just have to wait for a certain idiot in a certain White House to approve a deal. But we'll see if that actually happens.
I was
Yeah,
just gonna
we'll
say,
see.
they're just waiting to tie up the loose ends.
But yeah, but as I was saying though, Lakers Kings though, there was genuine hatred in that era, like early 2000s, 2001, 2002, before Tim Donaghy stuck his nose in the business though of that series. But I mean, you had though, as Nick said though, you had the back and forth. You had Vlade Divac calling Robert Ory's game-winning three just a lucky shot. You don't have to have no set skills; it's just a lucky shot.
Please.
You had Ory though pop back and say, I've been doing that my whole career. He better go read the paper or something. Obviously, you had Shaq, though. I'm not worried about the Sacramento Queens. Take a picture, write an artical. I don't really care. I'm not worried about the Sacramento Queens. So that's where it got. You had Phil, and then though you also had Phil Jackson make the remarks about it's a cow town up there. All they care about is cows and the state capitol. People then brought the cowbells in, and I remember. Oh goodness, Andy Bernstein, who was a longtime NBA photographer, was interviewed and said, the whole time we're in Sacramento, there's this one fan clanking this damn cowbell right in the ear of Gary Vitti the whole time.
Yes.
That was genuine Flashpoint hatred. Obviously, obviously I'm sure you guys know about the NorCal SoCal rivalry as well. In some way, it's different, different cultures, ideology down here as opposed to up there. And, it's a very much big thing when it comes to it, though. But this, in a way, I think kind of ties into that notion a little bit. But the last verdict I'm going to say, though, on this is simple. The 3-game suspension for me for a confrontation in the hallway is pretty steep. But when you do it, though, guys, 40 minutes after the game ends is public tab behavior. By the way, Shooter is losing and paying $291,000 for a conversation he didn't even win. Luka basically said what he said, and that was it. And, he basically won the rap battle right there, and then Shooter has to go and confront him when it's all said and done. Come on, man, be better.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is, and obviously we also had the news about Jaylen Brown getting fined $35,000 for the usual, abuse of the officials with how they called the game. I believe, Nick, we had Rudy Gobert also get suspended for flagrant foul accumulation. I believe.
I think it was just. I think too many flagrant fouls. They have a rule in the NBA that if you commit too many technicals or too many flagrants, you end up getting suspended because they count them.
I mean, could you imagine though if they had those back in the '90s or the Bill Russell days or the bad boy Piston era, late '80s, early '90s?
Yes.
You mean if they had the rule for the flagrant foul? You mean?
Yeah.
I totally forget that era that they didn't really have flagrant fouls. They just
not really.
Also, there's no such thing as ejections really back in the day unless you really physically assaulted somebody.
Or if you foul out the game.
I was going to go like Bill Lambier used to do.
Yeah, I was going to say, imagine what Mahorn, Lambier, and Isaiah Thomas would be getting fined, or how long they'd be getting suspended for how they played the game back then.
Imagine what Michael Jordan would have been fined for in today's day for some of the stuff he did.
I mean, he had his antics.
You know what? Today's basketball is not the same as the 90s was or the 80s was. I thought that era was way better, even though most of us were not, Callan and I at least, were not alive for the 80s and the early 90s.
We got the light beer version of Michael Jordan in a Wizards uniform, sadly.
Yeah,
zero alcohol version of Michael Jordan being in a Wizards uniform.
I got the full Budweiser version, pretty much. In the
By
90s,
the way,
the Bulls championships, the Dream Team,
Rockets,
that sort of thing.
That's a great plug for Bulls on Parade, the 3-part series we have for benchmarks coming up.
Yes,
with Sam Bando.
Yes, Sam Bando has a 3-part series documenting Michael Jordan's tenure in Chicago coming out March 8th. So it'll be right in the thick of the stretch run for the NBA postseason as we get towards the end of that season in a few months. Again, folks, as a reminder, the ETB Lounge is back again on Saturday with Nick DiMartino in a great lineup of hosts. And we had Nick, I don't know how else to explain it, though. It was like, throw the script out the window, burn it, put it down the garbage disposal. Let's just go and make our own fun for 2 hours on Saturday. And it was an absolute blast. And it was a great sneak peek, though, of what that show is going to entail as opposed to us on Monday nights.
Well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's going to be me hosting it on Saturday with Zan, and Colin will be back, who's one of Nick D's comedian friends. He's going to be part of the show once like by the end of January, he'll be on like every Saturday.
Okay.
Nick D's going to Vegas, so he's going to make his bad decisions for the entire
Oh,
week.
my
He's going to go do
God.
some real unnecessary wagers.
Yes.
So
could you see him in a casino playing anything from roulette to blackjack to poker and whatever else?
yeah, so we do need one more person for lounge for Saturday. So if anyone's around, hopefully one of our people will step up. But yes, I have to take the reins, which that could be a dangerous sighting. Just saying, if I'm hosting this show,
Oh, my God. Okay.
but we'll see what happens. But it's been good for the first couple episodes so far.
Yeah, nice little free range on Saturdays. And again, we're over
Nice.
100 viewers again. So thank you all again for joining us.
Thank
Again, we're here.
you.
Yes, excuse me. We're here every Monday and every Saturday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern here on ETB. Again, we will be having like some, much like other content on here. If in fact schedules don't line up, we'll probably pre-record our content, put that out though when the show airs in its time slot. But again, we'll have all of our bases covered here for the lounge. All right, guys, bench confessionals from the weekend that was. Again, I went back to my usual spot on Saturday after going to a lacrosse game here in town. Some of these guys have already happened. One of them was from tonight. Again, guys, we give you 3 confessions heard at the bar from this past weekend. We have an unpopular opinion, the emotional hedge, and future regret. So, Christy Wilson, we'll start with you with the unpopular opinion. The Bills, after their win over Jacksonville, are now the favorites to win the AFC now that Josh Allen finally won a road playoff game. Your thoughts?
Definitely. I think that is a fact. I've said it before. He has no excuses. If the Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl, then they're never going to get back to that point again with him as the quarterback. So the victory over Jacksonville is pretty convincing right now, but we'll see how the Bills do against Denver.
Yeah, I mean, for me, though, it's interesting because obviously I think the stat was that the Bills had not won a road playoff game since 92
It was like
or
this-
93, one of the two.
wait a minute,
They're
it's one
0
of-
and 6.
si-
0 and 6.
0-6. Okay, I was trying to remember 92, 93. Yeah, I think it was when they were on the way to I think it was the 3rd or 4th straight Super Bowl appearances in the 90s.
Because the last couple runs, they've been top seeds, so they've had home games,
Yes.
but they've been 0 and 6 in road games. It's
crazy.
And I don't get how McDermott manages to keep his job. I just don't get it. But I think the Broncos and the Patriots would like a word with this person
Yes,
who
they
says the Bills are the best team left to win the AFC. Even though I have the Bills and the Seahawks making it to the Super Bowl now.
My only assumption would be that the unpopular opinion, guys, is due to the fact veteran quarterback versus 2 new guys playing in the postseason.
Broncos defense is going to be hell against the Bills. And by the way, the Bills have to travel to Mile High in Colorado. That's
The
not
Mile High
easy.
Air.
High altitude, not easy to play. No, God. Yeah, it's not the first or the last time
Rocky
I've heard that.
Mountain High.
But hey, you're going to start paying the rent
Thank you,
for
Patrick Star.
You're going to start paying the rent for this place if you keep busting in the walls like that. But
oh yeah.
All right, Kool-Aid man.
Oh my God!
So the Bills are not the best team left, and the seedings will tell you that too, that they're not the best team left. But Josh Allen, if they were to have said Josh Allen is a force to be reckoned with and is a vet and has experience in the playoffs, then I would agree. But they're not the best team left to win the AFC. That's just not right or factual.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're easily like one of the favorites. I think I would probably still say Denver, New England, Buffalo's probably a third right now, if you ask me.
If they go into Denver and they beat the Broncos,
oh Lord,
they definitely have a chance to beat the Patriots or the Texans. So if they can somehow go into Denver and win, then I think they're the favorite against either the Patriots or the Texans. Even though the Patriots would like a word,
Yes.
And Drake may too.
And Drake May, but remember, Drake May is inexperienced. First
Yes, he
playoff
is.
game win, even though it was against a mangled Chargers team, which didn't deserve to really be there.
No, they didn't.
But
The Chargers just got lucky.
to say that they're the best team left in the AFC is just not factual.
And by the way, for those who are wondering, that is the 4th straight win for New England over the San Diego or LA Chargers in playoff history. The only Charger win was the last time San Diego won a major championship in baseball or football in 1963.
Oh, God.
Because they don't play very often.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and if they do match up
don't.
in the playoffs, it's been Brady versus Rivers, Marlon McCree. Thank you very much for ruining that season for us.
Yeah.
And of course, Nate Kidding. Thank you for ruining that other season. Nick,
By the
the
way-
emotional.
Oh, Lord.
Go ahead, Nick. What do you got?
I was just going to say another stat that a lot of people are pointing out. The Steelers have lost their 7th straight playoff game, longest active playoff losing
Holy
streak in the
crap.
NFL. And they're about to lose they did. They lost their 3rd straight home playoff game, a first in franchise history.
Oh, God.
Insane.
So, and it says their
Nice.
offense was outscored by the Texans defense. Can you bring Tomlin back? I would say no.
Yeah.
I'd go no myself.
Nick, as you said, though, with how the Rooney's operating, I think he's back for year 20.
Yeah, I think so.
Nick, let's go to you for the
Oh, boy.
emotional hedge. And this was actually about the game tonight. I picked the Texans, but I have kept the terrible towel in the freezer just in case Rodgers has one more miracle in him. And obviously, the Texans defense gobbled him up whole like it was hungry hippos out there, it sounds like.
First of all, if someone said this during our forecast show, I would say this is not allowed at all. You have to make a straight pick. There's no, I'm picking the Texans, but I'm holding out hope possibly that the Steelers can win. You can't be on both sides of the result. Yeah. You either have to say, I'm picking the Texans because I think they're the more dominant defense, or I'm picking the Steelers because I think there's more playoff experience from Aaron Rodgers. There's no, you can't say I'm taking the Texans, but I hold the right to say I could be right if I say the Steelers are winners too. It doesn't work that way. It's a completely what's the word? Blasphemous take.
Blasphemous. Yes.
Oh, goodness. Christy, your thoughts on the emotional hedge? I picked the Texans tonight, but I've kept the terrible towel in the freezer just in case old man Rodgers has one more miracle in him.
That's kind of crazy, but I don't know.
I mean, like Nick said, though, the Steelers' offense gave up more points to the Texans' defense than I think C.J. Stroud even really did much for them, it sounds like, at this rate.
They did, and oh boy, I don't know.
You're on both sides of the take. How can you have that type of take?
I mean, if you want D-Mart's answer, it's called California education.
Yeah, California education.
And this is not me, by the way. This is what I'm actually hearing at a bar with people who call themselves sports fans.
Yes.
In my market. Here in San Diego.
You want to know what I think of that take?
Was on crack.
It's crap.
Maybe. Christy, here's our future regret, though, and I actually agree with this one.
Mhm.
Christy, we are going to regret letting the transfer portal stay open while the Hoosiers and Hurricanes play for the Natty next Monday.
That's definitely a regret. I absolutely despise the transfer portal. I think it's, I've said it before, I think it's completely, excuse my language, fucked up college football. And the fact that it's going to stay open while this national title game is going on, I think it's bullshit.
Nick, as I've long said before I came here back in April, is that obviously working over a decade in college athletics at the D1 level, but having worked 5 years in the D2 ranks or 7 years in the D2 ranks, I lost count after COVID hit, is the simple fact, though, that I've long said, if you want the portal to actually work, then it needs to be closed all the way till you crown the national champions. It opens up 12:01 a.m. Eastern the following morning.
Well,
And that's where I think the line has to be, because this would, again, Nick, as I've called it, de facto free agency. That would be like any other sports entity out there, like baseball, the NFL, the NBA, having open free agency in the middle of the season going on in some roundabout way. And as we said, though, Nick, last Monday, we've heard the reports, though, there's been over 4,000 Division I athletes in the portal since it opened up for this, the winter in the, fall into winter now going into the spring. So, Nick, your thoughts on the future regret? We are going to regret letting the portal stay open while the Hoosiers and Canes play for a natty next Monday in Miami, Florida.
First, I'm going to say this is an absolutely dumb take, number one, because the portal has nothing to do with the national championship game whatsoever. So why does it matter if even though I agree that the portal should not be open, but who cares? What does the portal have to do with the national championship game? Could someone answer that question for me? Because one has nothing to do with the other, right?
Right.
No, I agree.
So I just think it's a distraction.
No, but why do you care about the portal? Like we're on the last game of the season. The season will end. Then everyone's gonna go bonkers and start transferring left and right. I think what people should really be focusing on is that players, once they sign an NIL deal, they should be anchored to their school for 2 years and not be allowed to move.
I say at least 2. I'd be for that.
At least, yeah.
But to say we're going to regret leaving the portal open, it has nothing to do with the game. It's apples and oranges. One has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah, and we're all in a way though as well. The other news though that we've been kind of following has been, the ever never ending revolving door, guys. Excuse me. Of what's the quarterback's name for Ole Miss? Trinidad Chambliss, is that his name?
Yeah, Trinidad Chambliss.
I believe now he's threatening legal action because he spent 2 years at a Division II, 1AA or Division III program, didn't play, and still claims to have 2 more years of eligibility.
Oh, stop.
Well, I blame a lot of this, though, on the free will of the transfer portal. Now, again, I think that this is just like a footnote to the game on Monday because, as Nick said, though, it doesn't matter about the portal being open still.
Right.
But a simple fact of there's a game on Monday, we crown a national champion, then by the next day, then everyone's a free agent in our terminology, basically, de facto free agents, basically. But, at the end of the day, though, guys, there's going to have to be, something will have to come to a head, though, where the portal needs to be addressed. I know that D-Mart has said his piece, though, about the calendar's wrong. We've heard that from Saban and Pat McAfee about mainly about Nick Saban, about the calendar kind of being out of place, though, for certain sports, though. I mean, at the end of the day, though, the portal is never going to go away. It's always going to be open whenever there's a national title on the line, though. But I don't think it's going to take away from the fact that the game's going to be great.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. Now, you want to say, because you and I, Callan, have had this conversation about March Madness and how ranked teams in the tournament, we're still making moves. If you're still in the tournament, you should be banned from making moves until you are eliminated from the tournament.
Great idea. And I look back, Nick, at Michigan last year, who I think had 2 guys transfer out or enter the portal while they're playing the Sweet 16. In a way, how dare you do that? Turn your back on your team while you're still playing for a national championship.
I didn't even know you could legally do that, technically, when your team is still
Now, in a way, that might be a good time, though, that a future regret, though, about, let's say, hypothetically, not Mendoza or not any big-name guy, but just anybody on either team says, screw you guys, I'm going to go and jump ship to go play at LSU, for example, while you're trying to play for a national championship.
Well,
right.
Lane Kiffin.
That's where I think the regret comes in, though. We're going to regret in some way, though it may not be like a 5-star guy or a quarterback. It could be the 3rd-string kicker for all that I care about. But any guy on that roster, Miami or Indiana, says, hey, I'm going to be taking my talents to LSU to play for Coach Kiffin while you're trying to play for a natty? Give me a break.
Well, first of all, it wouldn't happen this late in the process. Players, it's harder to do the transfer process. What Lane Kiffin did was such a weasel move that he left his old Miss team in the dust. And now LSU is paying the bonuses for how far they made it, which is crazy to me. But again, Zan and I had a debate over, can you really do that? Because you're taking away the rights to the players by anchoring them in one place. Yeah, you're agreeing to pay them money. You signed an NIL deal with the school to go there. So if they should have the right of first refusal to say, no, we're paying you. You're not going anywhere. Oh, you're taking my rights away. Well, then don't sign an NIL deal.
Exactly.
And to a point that has long been said by Gino Auriemma, one of the greatest women's basketball, basketball coaches of all time, we have essentially, Nick and Christy, thrown the word student out of the equation when it comes to student athlete. How about that?
You've basically become a professional athlete way earlier than some people are supposed to. Because remember, the college ranks are supposed to be the experience you gain to make it to the professional levels at some way, shape, or form. But now that you're being paid, and now that you're accepting sponsors and all this deal, and now that you're legally allowed to have an agent, I mean, look at the situation with Todd McShay, where he said that the agent is controlling, the
Deming Williams of Washington.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about the quarterback. What was it, out of Oregon? That like said, he should go back to play in school rather than getting drafted by the Jets. Which Howard did. Yes, thank you. And his agent was basically going around and asking teams before the draft.
Oh my God.
So basically they're killing the draft before the draft even happens.
Now, real quick here, I also missed a story that I heard something, and I was away from my phone, but I was listening to or watching Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, one of SoCal's greatest sports block radio hosts of all time, and he still has a podcast Monday and Thursday afternoons out here at 1:30 Pacific. Lee had said something, though, Nick and Christy, that was very interesting. Now, I forget what the story was. I think it was involving Cincinnati. They had a player transfer from their program to Texas Tech.
Yes, you're talking about the one that just happened.
Yes, and I think that there was some language in this contract, can't believe I'm saying that for a college athlete, that now the player now owes his old school $1 million.
I didn't hear about that.
I didn't hear that part either.
I didn't know. First of all, it probably has to do with that they accepted the money. It was upfront money.
That's exactly what, like, the collective gave him X amount of money. He transferred. The money's not going to follow him. And Cincinnati basically said, you now have to pay us back this $1 million for your buyout of your deal.
Yikes.
I'm looking that up because I just want to make sure if that's a real thing. I did hear about it. The player involved in this former University of Cincinnati, it was quarterback Brandon Sorsby, who transferred to Texas Tech and owes $1 million to the University of Cincinnati due to a buyout clause.
Ooh.
But a buyout clause is usually for the athlete, not for the university or the team.
Which I think is weird. And I think that Sorsby,
weird.
I think, is getting $5 million in NIL from the Red Raiders, I think, if memory serves me correct, on top of him coming there from Cincinnati.
So it said he had one season remaining on and this is ridiculous, a multi-year revenue sharing NIL agreement. That's the new thing, by the way, that they're calling it.
Revenue sharing.
Yeah, revenue.
With Cincinnati, that included a $1 million buyout clause if he transferred.
Yeah.
I guess meaning that whatever revenue he got as part of the revenue sharing, they could get $1 million of it back if he transferred. But it says at Texas Tech, Sorsby is expected to receive a new NIL deal valued at approximately $5 million.
Oh my God.
It's currently unclear whether Sorsby or Texas Tech or its affiliated NIL collective will ultimately pay the $1 million buyout fee, but it must be done within 30 days of his official transfer.
Okay.
Jeez.
So there's a limit on
Crazy.
it too, which
crazy.
It says this situation is a prominent example of how NIL contracts and transfer portal rules are evolving in college sports, and with buyout clauses now being enforced in some cases. This I actually agree with. If you force a buyout clause into a contract, you won't see these guys jumping for the next money.
Yeah.
Looking, I'm a free agent. I let me get the next money from the next school. And you know what? These players are jealous because these coaches leave from school to school to school and they get bigger deals. Except for James Franklin, who I think got screwed by Penn State. But Lane Kiffin, how many times does he keep getting a new deal every time and moving and moving and moving?
Every time, because he's a goddamn snake.
Couldn't agree more.
I hate
guys.
him.
Yeah, I know. All right, guys, we'll move on now to the aftertaste regarding the national title game, guys. But Nick and I even talked about this a little bit with Zan Bando off air last night on Sunday. But national championship game tickets are now going for about $3,500 for the get-in price, a new record high for the CFP national championship. I said that right, $3,500, more than we'll probably ever see in our lifetime, sadly, at this rate. While fans pay thousands, the portal is still churning, with over 4,000 players still in limbo during the biggest week of the year. Nick, have we officially now reached a breaking point when it comes to get-in prices for mega sporting events around the world?
First of all, is this the price that the arenas are giving? Is this people who bought the tickets and then are
reselling them?
Mm-hmm.
What do they call those now? People who put the tickets up and try to sell scalpers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you saw the story about the Seahawks, which I brought up on Saturday, where they're basically geolocating their tickets, meaning that if you try to sell them to somebody else, you lose an opportunity to be a season ticket holder next year.
Ooh.
That'll cut it out very quickly.
Yeah.
But they're never going to do that in college football because there's too many fans that come from all over the country to watch these games. But $3,500 just for a get-in price? Come on, man. I'm going to sit in front of my 65, 70-inch TV down in my den. The bathroom is right next to it. The food is already here. I don't have to pay for shit. Like,
Right.
I can get up when I please. I don't have to freeze or get overheated when I'm sitting in the stadium. I'll take $3,500 and buy a meal for 20 people to come over and watch the game.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
I'm in.
Christy, your thoughts again, though. Obviously, though, Christy, you probably see it a bit more than Nick and myself, because obviously being in the WWE or AEW space, I think you hear the horror stories, though, about people spending gazillions of dollars in a way, for WrestleMania, for a PLE, for even like a local house show, in Glen Falls or in Bozeman or somewhere nearby, in Boise or somewhere in the PNW. Obviously, we had Survivor Series come to San Diego. Prices never drop below $200 for one ticket for the event that night. So, Christy, your thoughts though about seeing a event like the CFP National Title Game being a get-in price of $3,500 here on Monday?
Oh, first of all, I think that's that's outrageous. And WWE has been jacking their ticket prices up even more since TKO took over that company, and AEW is more affordable. But college football, like Nick said, I'm probably better off sitting at home in my living room with the bathroom close by, the kitchen around the corner. I have all my food, everything set ready to go, and I don't have to go anywhere.
By the way,
save money that way.
You brought up the WWE. So there's two tweets that I just came across. So someone said, so the WWE has a Raw pre-sale for the Garden because they're coming to the Garden. The queue was over 25,000 people.
Oh, no.
Yet virtually no one bought tickets due to their insane pricing. Even pricing higher than John Cena's last Raw.
Oh, my God.
And the Garden holds, 20,000 people, maybe more for WWE?
25,000.
At least that.
And then there's another tweet that came out. WWE Monday Night Raw set to make its return to Climate Pledge Arena
in Seattle.
Seattle? Oh, jeez.
With pre-sale tickets costing up to $2,000.
God damn it.
Jeez Louise.
It can make sense to me.
TKO.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could, Michael K, but I think it's just, the supply and demand is one thing, guys. And I kind of know, when to, oh, by the way, first of all, before I get to that thought, Christy from Zan, I'm thinking of going to see a WWE event in Chicago. Is it worth it?
Which one are you planning on going on, Zan? Because I know the big one in Chicago coming up in February next month is Elimination Chamber. Depends. I would say it would be if you're willing to spend the money for it.
It's a lot of money. WWE's not cheap.
No, it never has been. At least as far as I know, it never has been.
Yeah, it's usually
Elimination Chamber is the one, Zan? Okay.
Yeah.
If you're into it, if you're willing to.
Yeah, that'll be, Zan, a PLE that will be on pay-per-view, essentially, in a way.
Yeah, it's one of the events that is the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been numerous times to TV events in San Diego,
Right.
a bunch of house shows. I went to one pay-per-view though. And Christy probably remembers the 2008 Extreme Rules pay-per-view came to San Diego, where all the matches were, with Extreme Rules. We had a false count anywhere match end in the players' parking lot of the arena where Jeff Hardy jumped off an 18-wheeler to give a swanton bomb to Umaga. God bless his soul.
God,
But I
Jeff
mean,
Hardy is
that was back.
insane.
But Christy, though, that was back though in the era where you remember though, where they would advertise tickets being as low as $20.
Mhm. But that was when Vince McMahon was in charge of the company.
Yeah, I mean,
He wanted to keep ticket prices reasonable, but with TKO taking over.
Yeah, and I recall the last time I went to see WWE was this time last year. It was my first show in 17 years that I'd actually gone to. I mean, I'd gone to like the local underground wrestling promos. I know some, know a few guys who run promotions to support the product though. That's, and I love that because it's it's $20, bring your own booze. All the, talent is there. They're not in character. They they're selling their merch. They're making ends meet. They're taking photos. They're being, they mingle with the fan base and stuff of that nature. But I remember though, when we went though for SmackDown last year, which by the way, it was Bayley and Tiffany Stratton main eventing, which was so cool to see the women get that big stage though, at Pechanga Arena. But I mean, that was an all day event though. I mean, we got there 9 a.m. to try to meet talent. We met Charles Robinson. We met Meechin. We saw Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax and, all the, talent come in. Some of them would sign, some didn't sign because they were, to Nick's pet peeve, staying in character the whole damn time, not engaging with the fan base. But I remember though, how fun they are though, when you actually go live and you experience it though.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the prices though, it's just,
It's
insane.
outrageous. I remember doing some when WWE had the Thunderdome. It was I was on a few of those, and it was a lot of fun. You get encouraged to bring the energy and everything like that, but these ticket prices just.
Yeah, I mean,
Then
they're
your
driving
national
people away.
championship game and get $3,500. I'm like, what?
Yeah, I mean, they're driving people away, and just before we get to our last segments here again, we're going to go over the 2-hour cliff here. I know when, I kind of know when to go watch the Padres play at home, when to watch watch the Wave or SDFC play at home. Okay, look, I'm not going to go watch the Dodgers because I don't want to get involved with fights with the Dodger fan base.
Oh God, no.
I might make the exception though when Nick and the Yankees come out here in September. That doesn't happen very often. But I know when to pick my spots. I don't go opening day usually. I don't go to game 2 because prices are out of control. For soccer matches, I will not go and see them play LA at home. Went to LA for the first game last year, but the rash of violence that broke out during those 2 games in San Diego last season. It's you in a way, you may not go see the big draw teams play, but you still though can go and watch them. I mean, Super Bowl tickets are one thing, World Series tickets are one thing, and the ever changing ecosystem has just been beyond insane. I think that Nick's right though. I would I would be more inclined just to watch it at home and DoorDash food, DoorDash some beer, and crash on the couch and watch the game that way.
Pop a frozen pizza in the oven or some chicken tenders in your air fryer.
Yeah, I mean, it's much easier just to make the nachos like the Super Bowl. We usually set it all up, and my dad cooks everything, so it's nice. And then we bring in. That's the one time I will actually drink for the day during the Super Bowl.
I go drink on the holidays, though. You said.
No. I'm saying I'll actually drink hard ciders or actual beer.
Okay.
But it's much easier just to do it in the comfort of your own house. I told Callan many times, you really think I want to make the trip to MetLife?
No.
It takes 2 hours just to get back each way. 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Forget it. It's not worth it. And my team stinks. So you really think I'm going to make the trip for a Jets team that I know I'm going to sit and watch them lose anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, that was me with the Padres for a long time, for the last 5 years. SDFC having a Cinderella run to the conference final, and watching them play at Snapdragon, the Wave playing at Snapdragon. I'll make the trip to Anaheim to watch the Ducks play every, few times a month. I am going to go check out Intuit Dome, though, in February to watch the Clippers play the 76ers, though. So I'm kind of eager to see that building in Inglewood. But even then, I got to worry about I got to worry about traffic. I got to worry about parking being out of control and all that sort of stuff, though. Real quick, Zan says, Callan, I would recommend going to one UFC event, but it's very, very lucrative and not for the average person. If you can go once, it's a win. It's coming from someone who has gone to 14 of them. Zan, they very seldom, though, come to San Diego, sadly. Yeah, Vegas is one thing, but still, that's a long way for me to go, though. But believe me, combat sports, though, is the one thing I have never seen live in person. Boxing, UFC, I've never seen it.
No, never seen it live either. Not UFC or anything
Believe me,
else.
though, I hope to go, though, but every time they schedule something, it's not in San Diego. So
he gets credentials, so he's able to go.
Oh,
I'll keep that in mind for the summer.
There we go.
At Pechanga Arena, San Diego. All right, gang, let's get to our pour one out. Some of the scores, guys, is our lounge therapy session. We've got 3 members or 2 people and we'll make that 3 people and 1 team who need to have a drink poured out for them after a very tough weekend. Nick Morgeson, please pour one out for a fellow Nick named Sirianni. The seat appears to be getting a little bit hotter in wake of that loss over the weekend.
He might need a drink with triple the stiffness because of the way his team performed against the 49ers. I mean, they were winning that game, and the Niners somehow won with Kittle basically tearing his Achilles in 3 places. I mean, that guy can stay healthy if he tried. But if you're gonna fight your star wide receiver on the sideline, and Big Dom's got to get in the way to break it up, I mean, you might need a couple of drinks because you can't keep you go from being a Super Bowl winner to a complete joke, getting eliminated in the wild card round. Yeah, he might need a few stiff ones to get over this.
Christy Wilson, please pour one out for Mr. Sirianni.
Yeah, I think that hot seat's going to get hotter. He's going to need one with quadruple the stiffness, pretty much. So,
yeah, he's not going to get fired.
Show. He's not going to get fired, but he needs a really insanely stiff drink.
I think so at this rate, sadly. Christy Wilson, please pour one out for the Green Bay Packers blowing a 3-touchdown lead at Soldier Field against the Bears.
They're all going to need insanely stiff drinks because of blowing that lead.
I mean,
all of them. Even Jordan Love, even Matt LaFleur, the coach, is going to need an insanely stiff drink after that.
Nick Morgeson, pour one out for the Packers and for your sanity come football forecast.
I'm going to need one to get through the biased Chicago Bears fans when we do forecast on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be I'm going to be suffering through every Bears fans. But you know what? Again, and I'll say this for the millionth time, I'm going to specifically pour one out for the Packers. I think LaFleur should be fired for allowing 25 points in the fourth quarter and allowing a record comeback for Chicago Bears in a playoff game. But at the same time, Bears fans need to calm down and learn not to play heart attack football. But at the same time, you know what? It would have been tough. They were going to be in for a battle one way or the other. I didn't think the Packers were going to win it easily, were going to stay in it as easily, but they did. They dominated the first half. But LaFleur, now they're talking about giving him a contract extension, even though he lost the game, which makes no sense to me at all whatsoever. But you know what? Even though they lost, I can't blame this on LaFleur. The players got to play better.
They do.
Christy Wilson, please pour one out for Trevor Lawrence out in the first round at home after a 9-win improvement for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It felt bad. I'll pour one out for him, but I feel bad for the guy because you ended up, sure, your season didn't start well, but you came back, made the playoffs, and you lose. Trevor Lawrence, heart goes out to you, buddy.
Nick Morgeson, pour one out for the Spicoli lookalike. That'd be Trevor Lawrence.
Here's what I'll say. Excuse me. I'm so choked up over this. Trevor Lawrence, a lot of people said he was very overpaid, wasn't the best quarterback out of college. Finally found the right kind of mix with him and Mr. Duval, Liam Cohen.
Yes.
By the way, can we pour one out for the reporter, by the way?
Sir, why are you stealing my material? That was my next one.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Oops. I'm jumping the gun. My bad. But I was just trying to compare the two because, I think we should pour one out for her because she was trying to bring some positivity to the game, and freaking social media like blew it up into a frenzy for no reason.
Oh my God.
But
So with that, Morgeson, please pour one out for Jacksonville Free Press associate editor Lynn Jones-Turpin for her post-game quote to Liam Cohen.
I don't have a single problem with what she did. I think that a lot of times we're the rah, we got to attack you for losing a game and doing all this stuff. Like, stop. Like, she was trying to bring a little positivity, and the media overreacted. Oh, it's not a football question. It's not a football question. Oh, shut the fuck up. Stop it. Like, we're allowed to. These guys are human. Remember that. They're human. Like, so they're going to be angry or they're going to be in a good mood or not. Just let it go. Like Frozen. Just let it go.
Christy, please pour one out for Miss Lynn Jones-Turpin, who, again, used her 18 seconds of fame to give some positivity after a heartbreaking loss for a team that I'm pretty damn sure nobody down there believed in except for Liam Cohen and that team.
Exactly. And look, I agree with Nick. She was just trying to, be positive, give Liam Cohen some encouragement and the team some encouragement. For her to face a media backlash like that is ridiculous.
By the way, so Jamel Hill kind of got caught in a little oopsie moment over this too. Did you see this, Callan, or no?
No. What do we got?
Oh boy.
So on Sunday, Jamel Hill mocked the Jags reporter, and then she found out that the women worked for a black newspaper.
Oh God.
And now Jamel Hill has changed her tune and is asking people to support the reporter. All-time backtrack.
Oh God. Yep.
I mean, I was never the biggest fan of Jamel Hill to begin with.
I don't like her anyway.
Because she makes everything too political in sports. But way to go. Way to figure out after the fact that it's now something you realized you should have been supporting, and now you're backtracking. Why does the media backtrack after they say something stupid?
They don't want to face the backlash.
No, they don't.
Sounds like three people who are not here anymore.
But guys,
God.
the final verdict though is let's pour a double one for Jordan Love. Honestly, leading by 18 and losing to Caleb Williams and the Bears is a long flight back from Chi-Town to Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh,
I mean, is it though? I mean, he was hurt. They had to fight through all the injuries. They traded for Micah Parsons, who had a season-ending injury. Is the game different? I don't know. If he's healthy, maybe that. But again, what's that dumb saying? A fallacy of a predetermined outcome, because you don't know what. That's one of my favorite sayings, by the way. But I don't know. Jordan Love gets paid a lot of money. Trevor Lawrence gets paid a lot of money. All these guys get paid a lot of money. So when they don't win, the fan bases are going to kill them to death and say, well, you didn't win and we should trade you and you suck, you jackass. It's just like,
whoa.
It's just like, well, no, that's a fan base for you.
That
like
is.
When your quarterback gets paid $50+ million, you expect them to win every year. You don't want to pay those absorbent ticket prices.
Yeah, those what do they call them? PSLs?
Personal seat licenses. Yes.
Oh, God.
For season ticket holders, they have to pay like $10,000 just to pay for the right to keep their season tickets.
Brother.
Yeah, that's
outrageous.
It very much is. I definitely think so as well. Well, guys, before we close up shop for the night, I want to take a second to look back at the wreckage of this weekend. We have seen the Bears find a king in Caleb Williams. We have seen the Eagles enter a full-blown identity crisis, and we've seen the Chargers. Well, we've seen the Chargers continue to be the most expensive disappointment in my whole state of California. But as I look around the room again, I'm reminded of why we're here again at ETB. For a long time, these supposed experts on other platforms told me that my voice didn't carry enough weight, and I spent years watching people run shows into the ground, and people who were more interested in hearing themselves talk than actually watching the game. I've sat through who knows how many fangirl interviews and listened to lead hosts who couldn't tell a zone defense from a zone entry, and I've heard all the small market jabs from people who were way too busy looking at their own shadows to notice that the world was passing them by. But in our lounge, we don't do that here. We don't care about the ego. We care about the effort, whether it's Alex Bregman moving to the north side of Chicago for $175 million, or a hallway brawl in LA that cost Dennis Schroeder a house payment, We talk about it because it matters to the person sitting at the bar. I'd like to once again thank Christy Wilson and Nick Morgeson for keeping the tab running tonight. And as a reminder, if you enjoyed the chaos from tonight, you can join Mr. Morgeson on Saturday, pinch hitting for Nick DiMartino behind the very bar on this very bar on Saturday night. Nick will try his best to serve up the comedy-centric sports talk, and if we're lucky, maybe Morgeson can finally explain to me why anyone still wears a powder blue Charger jersey in Los Angeles, California on Saturday. We'll see how he does.
I will never understand that.
But guys, the scoreboards are off. The teams are empty. But in here again, the lights stay on. The check is on the house. And with that in mind, guys, the ETB Lounge is officially closed until Saturday. So please pay your tabs for your waitresses. We'll see you back here, folks, on Saturday with Nick Morgeson in the bartender's chair for Saturday night's program back here at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. For Nick Morgeson, Christy Wilson, Callan McClurg saying good night here from SoCal. The check's on the house, gang. Get home safe. We'll see you next time. Until then, the ETB Lounge will be back on Saturday. Until next time, have a great night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Have a good night, everybody.